but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 8. Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Thursday, which is one of the days we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Yeah, this show's live. This show has always been live. This show will always be live. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, give us a call. It's more of a conversation, less of a show. That's what we're trying to get after here. Crowdsourcing information and opinions. And like I've always said, the actual wisdom of the crowd is a lot more valuable than some experts, in my opinion. So, that's what we're here doing. So if you want to be part of that, part of this conversation tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website, and click the Discord link. The phone number is also right on top. You can't miss it, and that's what's going on. So, all right, the thing is this, too. We are streaming on Facebook, DLive, Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Please join the Fringe FM Discord as well, fringe.fm/chat, and that'll put you right into the lion's den of nice people, if you can describe it that way. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on. That's the deal. That's how we begin this, and it is lots. So this show has been pretty heavy on kind of lifting your maybe not leaving both feet on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like we spend a lot of time dreaming sometimes, a lot of times discussing aliens and speculation type situations. And I think probably not enough time recently anyway, talking about what's going on actually in the real world, and in things that we can actually quantify and not really have to speculate. So I was like, maybe we won't do some aliens tonight or something like this, right? So I was kind of digging a little bit to see if there's anything that we haven't really covered in depth, because of course there's tons of things when you talk about conspiracy, regular good old fashioned conspiracy. Like I always say, there's conspiracies everywhere, though, right? Though our job is to realize that not everything is a conspiracy. So it's part of the discernment, part of trying to keep our stay level-headed about these things, and not just go too deep down these rabbit holes, because sometimes they seem, they seem provocative. They seem like, right, like it's a dopamine hit when you go further down a rabbit hole than the next guy, type of thing, and you're like, yeah, I've got the knowledge, I know the things, right? Well, I'm not so sure about that, because in many of those cases are just fake, flat out, maybe disinformation, maybe people making things up for clicks, right? And that's part of the upside down that we live in, and part of this discussion. And so I thought, well, let's go back to the good old CIA, right? Let's go back to the well of the probably the easiest conspiracy, the easiest slam dunk conspiracy is, well, the government and what they're doing, the things that they're, as I always say, right, life seems to be more of a PR situation. Everything's public relations, right? There's what's actually going on, and then there's the public relations front of all of that dirtiness that's happening, right? Very much like this, just for a government example, like I always say, NASA. It's kind of a PR, public relations front for the secret space program, right? And so no matter whether you believe if a secret space program is just simply killer satellites, or, right, the X-37B that's up there in orbit, it's been up there for 18 months or something like this, right? Like, that's definitely a secret space program for sure, and we know it exists, right? But further down that same rabbit hole, you could chase that all the way to the ends of, Randy Kramer and Marines on Mars and fighting aliens and time travel and, right, I mean, all kinds of stuff. Like I said, you can kind of basically come up whatever conspiracy you want by just following information on the internet. And so being a conspiracy show, I think so. There's a couple things that are pretty important to me with this entire thing, the entire conversation with this show in the past and as it continues is it's exactly that, right? Like I was describing, we have to be very careful, in my opinion, of getting too deep into some of these things that may or may not be true. Okay, it's fun to speculate for sure, but I think we do have to. There's when there's so many obvious, real, totally in your face conspiracies, and they're easy to track and easy to follow up on and things like this, right? I think it's a little bit detrimental sometimes to ignore those things. All right, so just as a primer, just to get us started here, that's what's on my mind tonight. And so again, like always, so the questions tonight are a few. Number one, of course, is we'll get to the article that kind of got me thinking in terms of this and some of the dirty shenanigans that the CIA has pulled, not just recently, but over dozens and dozens of years past, right? Ever since they were created, back in, I believe it was 1947, right, with the National Security Act. I believe that's when they implemented the first CIA. But okay, so in any case, right, the deal is this, right? Now the question being, all the things that the CIA is known for doing in the past, do you think that they've stopped? Do you think that they've actually right, like they've reformed their ways? Do you think that's something that's happened here, right? Because of course, if you lean on the PR front of the government, right, Jen Psaki or whatever, the redhead, it's in the White House or whatever's going on, right? Straight up PR front, that lady, right? But the one before her and the one before her and the other guy too, and whatever, right? They're all just PR BS types, right? It's what they do, because they're trying to tell you it's like the shiny object. Well, look at all the jobs we created, right? Look at all the good things that are happening in the government. Well, but what they're not going to talk about, of course, because it would be shooting themselves in the foot, is all the terrible things that are happening in the government, right? For instance, right? Don't get me started on healthcare and taxes. You guys know they're my trigger warnings, and I'll freak out, right? Well, not necessarily totally entirely freak out, but maybe it will raise my blood pressure a tick or two. See, because there are things happening in this world that really are not good. And that's just two examples, right, of things that I'm not happy about that our government is pulling off. But it's unfortunate that I think if you dig deeper, and not even like, and this is the craziest part about this, you don't even have to dig that deep. It's right there basically in front of your face, right? And they don't even try and hide it all that much, other than not cover it in the mainstream media. Okay, so anyway, as we continue thinking about this and talking about this, do you think that the CIA, for all the dumb things they've been caught doing in the past, do you think they've reformed their ways? Do you think that they've changed? Do you think that today's CIA is different than that CIA of yesteryear, of the old J. Edgar Hoover FBI type of spying on citizens type stuff, or do you think it's changed? Do you think because we're more civilized, right? We're more educated as people. We have the internet now. Do you think that they've reformed? Do you think things are different? Anyway, that's the question tonight. Do you think any of this stuff changes? And there you go. What's up? What's up? I see you guys in the chat. Good stuff here. And Matt says everyone is a conspiracy theorist, and that's the absolute truth, right? All you have to do is think about it just a little bit, and yeah, definitely, everybody's a conspiracy theorist. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to this article that got me thinking about this. Right now, everybody knows this guy. His name is Ashton Kutcher, right? Everybody knows this dude. He's probably mostly famous. He's done a bunch of movies and things too, but he's mostly famous for what? That '70s show, right? That '70s show where he played Kelso, right? Michael Kelso. You guys remember this guy? Now, in that '70s show, he played, like a knucklehead stoner, right? Like a guy who's just not that smart. Okay, well, so there's that, right? We'll start with that. But in any case, this is an article written by Mother Jones, motherjones.com. And yeah, we'll go to the tweet here. And so let's see, oddly enough, as we always say, is truth stranger than fiction, right? So is Michael Kelso, or I'm sorry, Ashton Kutcher as misled as that '70s show character, let's say. I don't know. I'm not gonna lean on that too hard, but I think it is funny. So here we go. Check this out. Yeah, is he Dude, Where's My Car? Is he that guy too? Okay, anyway, check this out. This is from motherjones.com, and this is what got me thinking about this, is we haven't really talked about this too recently. And so I think we have to kind of keep it at the top of our mind that we're always being manipulated, okay? Like I hint it here and there. We kind of discuss it just in little pieces, but it's critical that we never forget and we never let our guard down that every single thing is being manufactured, right? Every single little thing, every bit of news, right? Every bit of news conferences, press, PR releases, every single thing is being manipulated in this world. And again, very much like Alex Jones has always said, he called his show the InfoWars, right? Because that's really what's happening here. And this is a real thing. This is trackable. You can, there's a thing called information operations, and we did a show on that not too long ago, maybe a month and a half back, something like that. And there's a ton of things that are happening regarding that. But check this out. Anyway, let's just go back to this article real quick. This is from Mother Jones. And written by an individual by the name Ali Breland, right? And headline is this: I am simply asking if Ashton Kutcher is a CIA asset, right? And now this is what I'm saying, right? Is that we know that the CIA is connected to Hollywood. We know that the conspiracy goes deep when you start to consider all the things that they don't want us to know. Because, of course, like I said, the PR front is trying to tell you that everything is working as intended, right? However, if you pay attention to politics and the rest of this, it doesn't seem that way at all, does it? Just recently, right, in Texas, we had a bus full of Democrats flee the state because they didn't want to have to vote on something they know they'd lose, right? Is that how the government is supposed to work? Like we're supposed to have these representatives just flee the state? To avoid a vote, right? This is the type of stuff that's just beyond stupid, right? And there's a whole kerfuffle about that with, then the governor put out a arrest warrant for them. Anyway, it's beside this point. But just as an example of all the things that are right working as intended, right? Is this working as intended? Is anybody out there confident that the governments at large and the things they do are working as intended? Yeah, okay, all right. Anyway, let's get back to this article. So is Ashton Kutcher a CIA asset? Yeah, right. And so if that's the case, right, we talked about not too long ago on our news show, which we do on Mondays and Fridays at 3 p.m. on Twitch. If Jeffrey Epstein was possibly what they called a hyperfixer and possibly a CIA asset, it makes you wonder, how deep does the tentacles of the CIA go when you're talking about agents, right? And talking about people that are manufacturing, well, everything, right? Dissent, consent, they're manufacturing all these things depending on what they want you to believe. And so it's again critical that we're, like I said, we always keep our guard up. And number two, we understand that maybe our biases that are so locked into us are, well, possibly brainwashed into us, right? And so I'm not calling you out there listening brainwashed. I'm saying that probably a very large portion of the population is, okay? And so this is sad. Anyway, let's get to this article, right? So it started with this. Ashton Kutcher tweeted this, and this was a while back, actually. This was back in 2018, but it spawned this conversation recently with this Mother Jones article. And Ashton said this on a tweet: "Spent the afternoon picking the brain of a former CIA guy. It really makes you wonder if anything you come in contact with is not manipulated." Huh. Weird. Right? That's weird. Like, who knew? Michael Kelso's getting it, right? But okay, no. So there's that. All right. So fine. He apparently says he spent the afternoon picking the brain of a former CIA guy. And so he's basically describing the fact that everything is manipulated, right? Like, what is out there that we come in contact with that is pure, that is actually the way it's supposed to be, without some sort of government interference, without some sort of, again, like I said, a PR front of a bunch of BS that you're supposed to believe, but there's no really basis in it other than it's the shiny object, right? Look at all the jobs we made. Look at all the people that have health care. Look at all the this. Look at all the that, right? All they do, it's always spin, right? In the same breath, they could mention, well, look at all the people that have health care, for instance, that we did with this bill we made. But then they don't mention the 10 or 12 million people that lost their health care and now are paying 5 times as much as they were because of these terrible government policies, right? Just as an example. So this is just, like I said, healthcare gets me going. All right. So anyway, this guy, so this is again written July 21st, 2021. This is a brand new article. And so he's basically kind of going through here and describing what's happening with this stuff. Here we go. It says, John Krasinski, it gives me no pleasure to inform you that there is a new stereotypically attractive white guy in Hollywood who very publicly loves the Central Intelligence Agency. Ashton Kutcher is coming for you. And he continues, you're thinking, yeah, the bonehead from that 70s show is a CIA asset? The guy who sat on a stool and scared the crap out of celebrities before popping out and coolly telling them you've been punked? Yeah, this guy was on Punked. Remember that show? Yeah, the thought never crossed my mind about Kutcher's relation to the security state until today when I stumbled onto an Instagram post of 2 screenshots from his Twitter. The tweets from 2009, just like we said, quote, spent the afternoon picking the brain of a former CIA guy. It really makes you wonder if anything you come in contact with is not manipulated, right? And then from 2018, another one, just sending out a morning shout to the men and women of the intelligence community that keep us safe and protect our country. Hashtag gratitude, hashtag TY. Thank you. Yeah, with a photo of a haggard pic of Kutcher drinking his morning Joe out of a CIA mug. Yeah, right? Cool. Neat, right? This is fine. This is all fine. Yeah, so it continues. So what's going on here? I went to Twitter and saw a separate Kutcher video had gone viral. In it, Kutcher explains how TikTok might actually, at least partially, be a Chinese psyop to influence the minds of Americans. Wow. You don't say, right? You don't say. TikTok might be a Chinese infiltration device to change the minds of Americans? Weird, right? And this is what I'm saying. Some things are so incredibly obvious that they don't need to be said. Like, this is the type of thing that we watch on this show very closely, all right? If clearly, right, remember the Face app that was run through Russia, and it's basically you take the picture of yourself and then it ages you and shows you, as a 90-year-old person or whatever, right? So you could take a baby and turn them into a 90-year-old person. But what's happening, right, with that in particular, so that was not China, that was Russia. But what they're doing is they're collecting basically, with your consent, facial recognition data, right? That's what's happening. That's exactly what that is. And it was run by the Russian, by the Kremlin, right? It was not a private company. It was literally like a spy device that everybody was like, wow, this is amazing, right? They're taking pictures of themselves and showing how old they are, right? And they're like, look, I'm an old man now. Ha, it's so funny, right? Yeah, congratulations. You just gave your biometric facial data to the Kremlin. Nice. High five. High five, right? But this is what I'm talking about. Now, this is exactly, here we go. Thank you. We got Mike posted a picture in the Discord. And see, this is why you should join the Discord, guys. Fringe.fm/Discord. And there's the picture in there of Ashton Kutcher sipping from the CIA coffee mug, which actually I'll copy and I'll put up here on the stream. But you get it, right? You get what I'm saying. Like, at what point is, well, I don't know, too much? You know what I'm saying here? This stuff is clear and obvious, and we're going to get in. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is not just this, not just the Ashton Kutcher bit, but the rest, the CIA, right? And so the CIA and a lot of the terrible things they've done over the years. And back to that question, the initial question I asked, do you think they've reformed their ways? Do you think, again, right, there seems to be this consensus that, we don't need guns anymore because, well, we've evolved past that. That's like a barbarian thing, right? Like only knuckle draggers believe in that. This type of stuff, right? Like this type of hugely manipulated information that tries to make you believe what they want you to believe, okay? Because, of course, humanity and the CIA has clearly evolved past being terrible, right? Just like humanity. This is the golden age. We've got the internet now, right? We can fling poo on strangers anonymously in the middle of the night, right? In our underwear, and it's all good, isn't it? I mean, we have the internet, don't we? But you see what I'm saying here, right? You get the point. It's it doesn't end with this guy, Ashton Kutcher, right? It doesn't end with him. The question is, how many people in Hollywood? How many people, let's say notable people? Well, like, say, Anderson Cooper. How many people in the media? How many of those folks do you think are actually CIA assets, right? That's the question tonight. And not only that, how long, like I said, how long is this going to go on? Is this ever going to change? And, well, I don't know. You tell me. As always, we're trying to crowdsource a conversation here. Like I said, I have no inside sources. I never have. I don't plan on it. I'm not trying to be that guy. I don't care for anonymous sources. I think it's BS. I think it's more manufacturing of BS garbage so they can make us believe something by hiding behind an anonymous source, right? I don't like that stuff. I'm like, okay, where's the source? Well, some guy told some guy in a dark alley somewhere. Oh, great. So you mean So basically basically manufactured information. But anyway, so that's the question tonight. If you want to be part of the show, you know what to do. We are taking your phone calls and discussing this. How deep do you think this goes? Right? Ashton Kutcher, fine. Right? Sure, fine. But does it go deeper than that? Is George Clooney, you guys know, I've brought up George Clooney before, and it was a pretty funny little thing there, but is he an asset, right? A CIA asset. How many people in Hollywood do you think are actually part of this cabal of disinformation to change our minds, to brainwash us, to make us believe things that are not true? How deep does it go? That's what's on my mind tonight. So let's step off the alien wagon for just a little bit and get back to the real world, and we're talking about the CIA. So if you want to be part of the show, you know what to do. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And lots to think about, as always, lots to talk about. I've got a bunch of information about some of the old CIA operations and things like this, which we'll get into tonight. But the question remains, being that humans have evolved to the point where we don't need, well, things to protect ourselves because we're past that. Well, let's say this. Do you think the CIA has changed? Do you think human evolution and being modern people means we don't need manufactured BS to change our minds? You tell me. 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight. We are discussing the CIA. Do you think that since humanity has evolved and we've become a more peaceful society, wink, wink, that the CIA has reformed their ways and all the atrocities of the past have been cleaned up and wiped away? Or do you think they just got better at hiding it? You tell me. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And let's continue, shall we? Talking about the CIA. Now, I've got some, again, right? It's one of those things that if you've never gone down the CIA rabbit hole, right? Where you're like, okay, let's just, and not even that far, just kind of, stick your head in there and look around, right? That rabbit hole, right? It's a little bit unnerving, the things that they've been into, right? And it's all, all the regime change stuff that's going on all over the world, right? Like it's literally us meddling everywhere, all right? Again, with your tax dollars if you live in the United States. And so that's the type of stuff that's like, all right. And then not only that, of course, we also know that they're using our money to meddle elsewhere, and then they're also using it to fool us, to give us disinformation. All right. So anyway, let's just look at. I'm gonna go through some of this and look at some of the weirdness, right? The CIA operations that you guys may not have heard of, because guess what? There's a ton of them. Like I said, all you have to do is stick your head kind of into that rabbit hole and look around, and it's terrifying instantly. It's like, okay, wait, right? And you guys know me. I like to speculate a little bit. I like to think of what if we know what happened in the past, and then we can extrapolate technology and new ways of doing things into the future. Well, you can only imagine how things evolve with the CIA, right? So here we go. We're going to look at some of this. Like I said, I'd rather talk to you guys, but I had a feeling this may not resonate, only because it's not aliens, right? It's not portals. It's not things like this, which we've kind of been all over the place with that stuff recently, but it's okay. Like I said, I understand, but I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about this CIA stuff? Does it surprise you to hear that possibly Ashton Kutcher may be a CIA asset? And who else do you believe is a CIA asset out there? Is it everybody in Hollywood? Is it like Tom Hanks and George Clooney and all these guys? Do you think they're all part of this? Or, well, do you think it's something else? And, Michael Strange is freaking out. Michael Strange may be losing it. We'll see. Anyway, let's go to Coffee or Die. I'm going to put this in. Again, all these links are already on YouTube right there, so you can just scroll down and see. I'm trying to put the links in before we start, and so you can scroll down and see what I'm talking about tonight. But here we go. Let's just look at a little bit of this stuff. And weird, right? Weird, right? The CIA was established, like I said, in 1947, which, of course, that was just after Roswell, by the way. You remember? Remember the weird synchronicities of the supposed Roswell crash in July of 1947, and then just after that, I think it was in September 1947 when they put in the National Security Act, which is when the government really started becoming a non-transparent thing, right? So that's again a little bit sketchy, a little bit interesting in terms of that, right? But Roswell, CIA, right after it, and of course disinformation and all the rest of this. So here we go. This is okay. We'll actually go to this in just a sec because we have a phone call coming in. So like I said, I'd rather hear from you guys. So if you want to talk about this, about the CIA, about things like this, who's an operative, and what's up, our good buddy. We got a call the other night from HB. If you're out there listening, what's up, HB? And I apologize. I kind of alluded that he might be a CIA asset, and it was more of a joke. It was more of like a high five, man. You know a lot of stuff, and well, now I'm feeling weird because you may be an asset sent to keep watch over me. And it was a joke. I didn't mean it like that. It was more of like a, anyway. So it kind of got me thinking in terms of that. It's like, okay, they're probably everywhere, right? This type of stuff is probably going on everywhere. So anyway, let's go to, we are taking your phone calls, talking about the CIA and the rest of this stuff. What do you think about this? Have they infiltrated Hollywood? We've talked about how the Hollywood seems to have to pass scripts to them to get approval to talk about certain things. And then, it's been well documented that there's a lot of shenanigans going on with the CIA. But let's go to Beechwood in Massachusetts. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Beechwood. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm doing wonderful, as always.
Right on.
I really like this topic. The CIA, that's the one. I swear, every time I talk about the CIA, something weird happens.
Uh-oh.
But, uh-oh is right. But if I remember, I think somebody else will probably remember, too. I think, like, years back, I remember something with, I think it was Sean Penn, meeting with like El Chapo or something, the drug dealer. And then I remember shortly after that, I think they ended up like catching him or busting him. But I've heard things that like he was, working with the CIA, and he's a writer, producer, actor, all that. And I've heard a lot of conspiracies about what they do. I've read some books, and a lot of them are like really long and drawn out, and they give a lot of dates and numbers, and they don't give any good stuff, but basically it says they infiltrate other countries' governments and basically control how they're run. And then if you go like a little further down the rabbit hole, a lot of people say they control the major portion of like the drug trade, what really comes in and out of the country, what money goes out of the country, things like that. But that three-letter organization in particular, I just find weird because I'm going to relate it to like, my experience with actually going to a mental institution, and you could say, quote, crazy people. And you observe and you see, you compare, and for some reason, the CIA is the one that they bring up. Like a lot of crazy people say they're in the CIA or the CIA is watching them, and it's always the CIA. It's not the FBI. It's not the Secret Service. It's not the, and every other three-letter organization. Occasionally, you'll get an IRS, someone with the IRS after them, which is totally believable. But for some reason, the CIA sticks out. And it's just really interesting. And they're associated with so many other conspiracies, like the Kennedy assassination, Charles Manson associated with the CIA. They'll keep rolling if you think and you look into it, the ones that they're associated with. But I don't know. Maybe it could be the center of intergalactic affairs or something. And they're like a Men in Black organization. But their budget is like unlimited. It's weird. Like, I feel like I could say I'm in the CIA, only I'm undercover. Like, even a real CIA agent doesn't have the authority to ask me for my credentials. Like, that's how high ranked I am. That's like the way they play the game. It's just, they never tell the truth. The whole life is a lie. And it's, I don't know. It's interesting. That's all I really had for that. But I want people to call in and say what they've heard or what they've thought. And like, I really mean that, because there's something about that one organization that's off. There's something off about it. They have too much control. It's like they're just too many steps ahead of the game.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's most troubling about all of that, right, for the troubled minds out there, is that it seems to be an unaccountable outfit, part of the government that's so opaque it's nearly impossible to get information out of them, that they can kind of do whatever they want to do, and sometimes things leak out with some torture programs and things like this, right, which Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay, things like that. But it's still, right, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, we know clearly they're doing advanced interrogation, and probably way worse than that, right? I mean, we've all heard of MK Ultra, haven't we? Like that type of thing. So I don't know, man.
They're
Go ahead.
I know they're so skilled with the interrogation that they'll convince you to admit to something you didn't do. People they can do that with techniques. If you get the hot light in your face and they just keep pounding you, people crack easy, and they're good at it. And then they take it and run with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But,
exactly.
That was all.
Okay.
Good show. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it, bro. Beechwood from Massachusetts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon. There you go. Easy as that. First call out of the way. Like I said, I'd rather talk to you guys. I've got some stuff that I'm going to talk about, and I'm not going to go too deep. This isn't going to get dark. All right, we're not going to do that. We could though. Like it's one of those things where if you want to get into MK Ultra and some of the trauma and some of the drug abuse and some of the things that they've done in the past, under the guise of national security, it does get dark. It does get ugly. But we're not going to do that. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the weird stuff that they've done, right? And I think that's where you can speculate and realize, okay, if they're thinking so twisted to do some of this bizarre, weird things to get intelligence or whatever it is they're doing, right? This is the type of devious minds that we're working with here. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be criticism for the CIA all over the world. Because of course they're doing what they do all over the world. So I don't know. So who do you think? So let's throw this into the mix. Beechwood had a good point there about Sean Penn and El Chapo, where he did. He met with, I believe it was him and El Chapo's wife, and then shortly thereafter there was some sort of they caught him, right? They actually tracked him down and caught him. So was Sean Penn part of that? Part of the setup, or was that a wink coincidence? So you see, I don't know, and there's things like this that happen all the time where you very much like the Epstein stuff, right? It's like, okay, was he a CIA asset? We talked about that. There's a whole entire huge article about that, and we'll probably cover that in depth at some point as well. But you got to wonder, right? So if anybody has influence or power in any capacity, you got to expect that the CIA is going to be interested, right? Because they're influential, they know a lot of people, right? Things like this. So I don't know. That's just again to get us going. I appreciate that, Beechwood. That's a fantastic thought with El Chapo and Sean Penn there. I had completely forgot about that. But that's the type of stuff that does happen. Now again, right? Michael Kelso, Ashton Kutcher, right? That knucklehead. You think that guy is a CIA asset? Well. This guy from Mother Jones wrote the article about asking that very same question. I'm simply asking if Ashton Kutcher is a CIA asset. Weird, right? Weird. Well, I'm asking that too. He doesn't seem like he'd be the type, but then maybe he is. Maybe he is. So this article goes on. We can get into a little bit of this. Here we go. Does Ashton do any work with the CIA or other U.S. national agencies, or does he want to? I wrote in one of the most stupid but justified emails I've ever sent to this PR company that represents Kutcher, right? I haven't heard anything back yet, and I don't think I will. So this individual actually sent an email asking. All right. So Google was obviously not much more helpful, okay? But I still found an article that in this weird matrix of Ashton Kutcher's fascination with the CIA and American geopolitical interests. So here's the weird part. In 2018, the red carpet for the premiere of The Spy Who Dumped Me, an ET reporter asked Mila Kunis, of course, who is his wife, right, whose ex-boyfriend ends up being a spy, about how she'd react if she found out Ashton Kutcher was, in fact, a spy. She answered, "I'd be like, I knew it. I wouldn't put it past him. He also has multiple jobs. Like, not everything adds up," where I'm like, what do you really do? What is this office you claim to go to, and why are there many different locations for this office, right? And that's his, I don't know if that was his wife at the time, his girlfriend, whatever it happens to be. She's saying this, like, okay, he seems pretty sketchy to me, right? And is this just some Hollywood dude running around on his girl? Well, maybe. But is it also, something a little more deeply sinister, right, with actual clandestine contacts and things like this? So anyway, let's just look at this real quick. 3 insane CIA operations that you've probably never heard of, and this is again from Coffee or Die. I linked it, and you can find it right there in the weirdness. So let's go down in the links down below. All right, here's the thing. These are just kind of short little things. Where are we at time-wise? Great stuff. All right, like I said, let's burn through one of these real quick. John Chambers wasn't a spook, but a highly respected Hollywood costume specialist who loaned his expertise to the agency from time to time. He famously assisted the CIA in creating a fake sci-fi movie to fool the Iranians during the Iranian hostage crisis. You guys remember that? Argo, if you've seen that movie, right? They created a fake sci-fi movie to send in CIA operatives to break their people out from the hostage situation. You guys remember that story? In any case, this continues. It would be the basis of the 2012 movie Argo. This time, however, his talents were needed for a Moscow mission. Walter McIntosh, head of the CIA's disguise department from 1977 to 1979, asked for help. CIA operations officers or spies had difficulty traveling around Russia because they were always being tailed by KGB surveillance teams. How did the CIA plan to hide its officers' movements from watchful eyes? Yep, you got it. Inflatable sex dolls. The premise was to have the CIA officer sitting in a vehicle's passenger seat, holding an ordinary suitcase on his lap. To lose his tail in order to contact an asset at a secret meeting, the CIA officer would place the suitcase in his seat and sneak away. The suitcase would then deploy like an airbag to reveal the inflatable sex doll. From a distance, it would appear as if there were still two officers in a vehicle, but in reality, there would only be the driver and his unusual companion. McIntosh humorously recounted how he acquired the inflatable dolls in the first place. Quote, "My secretary in those days was a very nice, prim and proper lady of high religious upbringing," McIntosh told Newsweek. "She was one of those people that was always volunteering to do the extra chore. But I just could not see sending her out to buy sex dolls. So I just strolled about until I saw a sign, adult bookstore, and sure enough, they had a selection of sex dolls." Here you go. There's the CIA, right? A little bit more funny on this one. But you see, right, the types of things they kind of go through. So here we go. The more embarrassing part was his return for several additional dolls. "As I was buying 4 or 5 at a time," he said, "and often over a period of weeks, I am sure I got quite a reputation," he said. The prototypes were called JIB for Jack in the Box, and surprisingly were successful. In 1982, Jack sprung out from a phony birthday cake box without rousing the suspicions of the KGB agents in the trailing car. So I came across this one a few different places, but so the way it is, right, is they're being tailed by the KGB. They've got 2 operatives in the vehicle, and they have to make a quick turn, and then the guy in the front seat dumps, and he's off, right? And so now he's not being followed any longer, but then they just inflate the inflatable airbag, as it were, that's now sitting in the passenger seat. So now as they turn the corner and they're catching up to the tail here, they actually see there's still 2 people in the vehicle. So, right, I mean, this is the type of stuff that goes on. And it's just, this is basic. This is the old switcheroo. This is things that we do to each other as kids, right? Except, well, these are the things the CIA are doing, right? And like I said, some of this is dark, and so we're not going to go super deep into the weird sci-fi, or is it not sci-fi? I'm reading what Night Stalker said. We're not going to go deep into the MK Ultra stuff with that trauma and whatnot. Like, we did a show on that a while back. It's dark. It's really dark stuff that the CIA was doing. Like I said, with some of the trauma and making people eat their own feces and things like this. It was just awful. Like, really, really gross stuff. And well, yeah. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to get into that tonight. But it exists, right? It's still part of history, part of these things that happened. And in conspiracy circles, let's say, MK Ultra is one of the big ones, right? And we've discussed it with Monarch programming and things like this. Is it still happening? And I think that back to that, now that humans have evolved, right? We don't do that terrible stuff anymore, do we? Yes, right? No, we don't do terrible stuff like that anymore. Come on. But anyway, right? So you get it. Let's see. There is some UFO information here tonight as well. What's up? Ralph says Dennis Rodman is maybe a CIA asset. And that's a good point, actually, being that he's out there trying to meet with Kim Jong-un all the time, right? I was about to say Kim Jong-il. He's out there, he's supposedly best buddies with Kim Jong-un. So that's a good point right there. What's up, guys? I see you in the chat, reading as much as I can as we go, trying to not let it derail my train of thought. But, well, I derail several times per show anyway. But, okay, so let's, where are we at time-wise? I think we got a few minutes here. So looking to hear from you guys tonight. We're talking about the CIA. And, again, don't want to get too dark, all right? Don't want to get too dark here. But what do you think? Do you think that we have reformed? Do you think that Ashton Kutcher is the only, possible CIA asset out there in Hollywood? Or do you think it's swimming in them? Meaning that almost, let's say, half of Hollywood is a CIA asset in some capacity as part of the network. What do you think? That's the question tonight. And yeah, who knows? Yeah, this is CIA stuff. Well, it's more humorous and funny. So like I said, we're not, I could go really deep and dark, and I've got some of that stuff too, but I just don't want to turn this into one of those ones where you listen to the show for a couple hours and then it puts you in a mood, I kind of don't want to do that. We could do that, but I kind of don't want to do that. So anyway, let's keep on rolling here. Like I said, I'd rather hear from you guys. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. It was a great comment there from Beechwood about Sean Penn and El Chapo. Who else do you think could be an actual CIA asset? That's what's kind of on my mind tonight as part of this whole manufactured reality that we live in. Okay, and like I said, it's I think it's probably best. Here, I'm going to preach just a little bit that we maybe take some of our most dearly held beliefs and question them. Right, like where did these things come from? And have we been manipulated and brainwashed every step of the way since we were born? And I think that's, like if we don't ever consider that you yourself is brainwashed, well, odds are maybe you are. I don't know. Or maybe you just don't like to think about it. I think that's probably fair. Like there's just a lot of stuff here that kind of gets me. I don't know. JJ What's Up says, I would say all of them are, and demonizing him because he is actually working to help foreign kids. Who? Let's see. Robert says on Facebook, your grandfather's CIA could have a president killed and get away with it. Today's CIA is just full of pranksters and lame. Well, internet pranksters, right? Yeah. Sean says the CIA knows all about UFOs. And interestingly, there's one I'll pull out and we'll talk about when we come back from the break here, that the CIA actually requested to have a UFO built, if you can believe that. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. We're kind of just going through some of the weird CIA stuff. Again, back with the Argo and the fake science fiction movie, right, to infiltrate and get in there to break people out of the hostage situation, which supposedly worked. I mean, so there's, like, you got to think, right, if in terms of the larger what else may be going on out there, I think it's probably, it's probably a lot of really dirty, sinister stuff. And so, yeah. Anyway, let's see. What's up? Don't be turning into a flat earther now. Hey, come on now. Come on. Hey, be nice to me. All right. So anyway, as we roll this down and get to the top of the hour, like I said, I'd rather hear from you. What are your takes on this? And how deep do you think it goes? Do you think literally every moment of our lives is under attack by CIA brainwash, CIA assets? And do you think they're everywhere? I think probably on Reddit, think about social media. Like, think about the unbelievable amount of actual probable CIA that are out there, at least maybe teams that are working with the CIA to run and control social media. That alone right there is probably a staggering operation. But yeah, so as we continue talking about this, like I said, if you want to be part of this tonight, I'd love to hear from you. Great call from Beechwood to start us out. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, and that's what's on my mind tonight. Not necessarily MK Ultra Dark, but what is the CIA up to? Do you think that they're watching us right now, being that we're discussing, their name, discussing some of the old things they've been into? Or do you think that that's just paranoia, right? Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. The famous lyric from the Nirvana song. I don't know. You tell me. Like I said, I don't have the answers here. I'm just asking questions. I think it's good to kind of keep our mind in the real world from time to time and look at some of the things that they're feeding us, BS-wise and propaganda-wise and control-wise. And that's what we're talking about tonight. The CIA is on my mind, and I'd love to hear from you. One more time, 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. More after the break.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This show is live. Well, before we get there, let's talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. This show goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we do talk about the things we're not allowed to talk about. And you know what those things are, don't you? Yeah, that's right. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming live on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're talking about the CIA tonight. We're talking about spooks. We're talking about Ashton Kutcher. We're talking about maybe Tom Hanks. We're talking about, I guess, the Illuminati, aren't we? We're discussing what is really going on in the world we live in as the information war rages full on to convince us of things that may not be true. And how deep does it go? Who's involved? And is it notable people? Which we got an article shared, which we'll get to in just a sec. Thank you, Robert, for sharing the article there. But I got ahead of myself. I was a little bit thrown off when we began tonight because the Facebook was being difficult and I couldn't get it to stream. So I was like, running out of time and like, what do I do? But anyway, I forgot to mention this, and this is an important thing. So this weekend on the Fringe.fm, the Fringe FM, we're having what's called a Fringe-a-thon, a Fringe telethon. What's happening is there's the station itself and Joe Roop are trying to get back to Arkansas. And so what we're doing is holding basically a fundraiser to make sure that we can get the radio station back to its roots where it started, and I guess out of Arizona, because I guess Arizona is the bad spot, right? What happened? I don't know exactly what happened there, but apparently it's not as good as Arkansas. So first things first is we got to get things in order, and that's what we're going to do. So we're having basically a 24-hour stream, or basically until Joe Roop passes out, right? It's going to be one of those. So it's going to go there's a funding goal, and hopefully we can meet that quickly and not have to make Joe Roop go 3 days straight or something like that. But yeah, so that's what's going on. That will happen on Friday night after Ryan Gable, The Secret Teachings. So that will air at his show airs at 11 p.m. Pacific till 1 a.m. Pacific time, and then after that, in that 1 a.m. hour, Joe Roop will be back on the air, and he will be on the air until the goal is met, or well, he falls out. So that's what's going on this weekend, and everybody will be part of it. All your favorite Fringe characters, everybody's signed up to be a part of that and help with the stream. So we're gonna help chip in and just make sure that Joe doesn't go too far off the rails. So he needs people looking after him, and so we're gonna get together as a team and help him with that. So what's up, Joe Roop? We got your back, man. So if you guys are looking for a fun time this weekend, well, I'm not gonna scroll my phone number on the wall, except for this phone number, 702-957-1037. Give us a call, and love to hear your takes on the CIA tonight. But that's what's going on this weekend. So again, Friday evening, Saturday morning, 1 a.m. specifically, we're going to go, and it's going to be a Joe Roop streamathon with, I'll be there, Ryan Gable, Jess Rogie, Alex Exum, you name it. Everybody's going to be there from the Fringe, and we're going to be, we got our time slots all picked out, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of amazing things. things. So there you go. If you're looking for a fantastic time this weekend, you could do far worse. So come join us, and if you can spare a few bucks. We appreciate you pitching in to make things right. Help us get things the way they need to be. We appreciate that a lot. So there you go. I wanted to point that out, mention it. I completely forgot because I was off my game when we started tonight. But anyway, so all right. So that's the deal. Tonight we're talking about, what are we talking about? We are talking about the CIA. We're talking about Ashton Kutcher and this article right here. And so some weirdness with this, right? So we got that weird CIA story. I know it's kind of, the sex dolls and the pop-up thing and the, losing the KGB. It's a little cute, right? It's a little too cute for the CIA because they've done some pretty dark, insidious things. But let's just go back to this. Let's circle back to see where we started this conversation. And this is what got me thinking in terms of the CIA tonight. This article by MotherJones.com, an individual wrote this by the name of Allie Breland. I am simply asking if Ashton Kutcher is a CIA asset. A CIA asset. I don't know. Is he? Is he not? And I think that's part of what's going on here is if he is, right, sure, fine, possible, but who else may be from Hollywood? Who else may be CIA assets, maybe in the media? Like we've known, infamously, Anderson Cooper was a CIA intern when he first began. And then, of course, he's from the wealthy family, the Vanderbilt family. His mother is Gloria Vanderbilt. So he didn't really need the money, did he? So kind of from the very beginning, Anderson Cooper was suspect. And so, wouldn't you know it? He's now the silver-haired fox of CNN, and he's propagandist in chief, I guess you could call him, right? I don't know. So anyway, just this article real quick. We have Ashton posted this way back in 2008, and he said, 2009. He said this: spent the afternoon picking the brain of a former CIA guy. It literally makes you wonder if anything you come in contact with is not manipulated. And yeah, right. And that's what we're thinking about tonight. That is really at the heart of the matter here. Like I say, Alex Jones gets a bad rap, because he's off the rails half the time, in my opinion. But he is correct in that we are living in in an information war. It is what it is. And I think that we have to talk about this from time to time, just to remind ourselves, right, to not let our guard down and make sure that we keep ahead of ourselves and stay maybe not be so bogged down in the propaganda. So anyway, that's what's on my mind tonight, and I'd love to hear from you if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. Scroll that on the bathroom wall, and maybe we'll get some interesting calls. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link. Also, come join us on the Fringe Discord, fringe.fm/chat. Get in here. Come say hi. Lots of smart people in here. These conversations go on 24 hours a day, and it's a chat client as well as a voice client. It's totally free. You can use it anywhere in the world, and Discord is amazing. So there we go. So let's continue, shall we? We got this article shared as sort of an addendum piece from Robert on Facebook. What's up, Robert? Thanks for hanging out and sharing this amazing article. How about this? This is from thehollywoodreporter.com, right? And this seems a little bit silly, doesn't it? Let's read this just a little bit. Was Chuck Barris a CIA assassin? A CIA assassin. There you go. I don't know. I think this is a little bit, is it silly? Is it disinformation? Is it propaganda? What is this? Oscar-nominated producer Andrew Lazar weighs in on the late TV personality's claim, quote, he never denied the authenticity of the book in all the years I knew him, right? So here we go. 2 decades ago, producer Andrew Lazar acquired the rights to Chuck Barris's memoir, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, an unauthorized biography, Stranger Than Fiction. The 1984 book detailed The Gong Show's host's hidden life as a CIA assassin in the 60s and 70s. Lazar enlisted Charlie Kaufman to adapt the wild story, which would mark George Clooney's directing debut. Oh, weird. George Clooney. Weird. The resulting 2002 movie, which depicts star Sam Rockwell killing 33 people, has been largely viewed as fantastical fiction. But Lazar, who remained a close friend of Barris's and visited him just 6 weeks before his death on March 21st, says the iconic TV personality never backed down from his story, even if the CIA emphatically denied that Barris worked for the spy agency. Weird. Weird. Yeah, right? Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the type of thing. Now, is this fake? Right? So it's fiction, they say, right? Is this fiction? or the guy never backed off the story. So you tell me. And I think that's part of what we're dealing with here is we really don't know what to believe anymore, do you? I think if you're given, unfortunately, right, in the conspiracy world we live in, if you're given like it used to be that Occam's razor was the thing, right? Right? You'd be like, okay, it seems more likely that this is, this is probably fiction. It seems like it. It has to be, right? There's no way the Gong Show guy could have been a CIA assassin killing, over 100 people back in the 60s and 70s. Right? Am I right? That seems silly. Or does it? Or does it? I don't know. I don't know what to make of this other than exhausting to think about. But okay, so there we go. There's another one. So thank you for sharing that article. But what do you guys think? Like, are these things possible that these, celebrities, Hollywood people, game show hosts, talk show hosts, like somebody mentioned in the chat, Robert actually said, well, Michael, we have to be very aware that you might be a CIA agent. Me, Michael Strange. And you're right. Like, you have to be aware that may be the case. Well, clearly, if we'd have quite a larger audience if probably I was, because they'd be boosting us, right? We'd be like the 17th letter movement and would blow up overnight. But we're not. So, I think you're safe with me. But again, go ahead and be suspicious. It's okay. I'm not, there's no ulterior motive here other than I want you guys to think for yourselves. That's what this show's always been about. So as we continue here, weirdness, right? I've got some other weird CIA stories to tell you. But of course, I'd rather hear from you. I could preach on like the substitute teacher that puts on a movie and whatever else, but I'd rather hear your stories. I'd rather hear what you think. Interesting that article comes up and it was George Clooney's directorial debut. Weird, right? Weird? Synchronicity or something else? Yeah, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. What do you think about this stuff? What do you think? Is the CIA reformed, or have they just continue doing the same stuff they've always been doing, just calling it different things? That's what we're talking about tonight. That's what we're thinking about tonight, and looking to hear from you. So I've got some more CIA stories we'll get into, and we'll do that in just a moment. I had a feeling people would be like, nah, no thanks, Mike. Give me the aliens. But it's all right. It happens. I think that we have to talk about these things. Otherwise, what's up? GameVet02 says, George Barris was a really nice guy. I met him in person. Okay. Well, apparently he was a CIA stone cold killer as well. Yeah, as they say. So anyway, let's go to, we got a phone call here. I think actually he just hung up. So never mind. We'll take that in just a sec. But all right, so you get it. The point is that is this stuff real? Is the world we live in exactly like they're telling us, or is it something else entirely? Let's go to this other one. This is from that Coffee or Die article. So there's another one, right? Let's see. Where's the good one here? There's a good one here. All right. Let's see. Nah. All right, let's burn through a bunch of these. This is from Infomori. I don't know. .com. There we go. I'm going to link it and you guys can find it actually down there in the YouTube links. It's all there already because, I'm ahead of the game sometimes. So here we go. This is where I'm getting the information from. And we'll go to this call coming in just a sec. But here you go. I'm linking it in the chat, and you guys can follow along if you prefer. Robert says, after assassinating all those people for the CIA, that explains why Barris was crazy enough to host the Gong Show, right? Right? That was his payment. His sweetheart retirement payment was hosting the Gong Show, right? Yeah. Sam says the guy never backed off his story, which is interesting, right? Interesting. All right, so we got the Night Stalker on the line. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. What's going on, Mike? Great stuff tonight.
Thank you. What is on your mind, man? What do you think?
We're going to go way out there.
Okay. Take us way out there, man. Love it. I love it. Let's hear what you got.
First, I'll post. I'm not going to go dark. Just go out there weird. But first, I'll post a link as soon as I get off the call. But a few months ago, Moby the singer came out saying the CIA asked them to spread misinformation about Trump, I guess, and Russia collusion, whatever, back in the day. And they're like, yeah, your social media following is bigger than ours. We need you to start putting out disinformation, which is just ridiculous to me. Like, there's like a narrative amongst like some I think are mystics stuff that the CIA tries to do this by like influencing these like celebrities to influence us, but they're so out of touch with what like we're actually into that they try to use like Moby and like Tom DeLonge and people like that who just like we haven't cared about in 15 years. You know what I mean? I thought that was interesting. And then kind of tied to that, just like back in the day. But did you hear the story about the CIA writing the Scorpions song that brought down the Iron Curtain. I'll post that link in the chat too. You heard about that? The Scorpions, the band.
Yeah.
Ever heard about that?
No, never heard that.
Yeah, it's did the CIA really write one of Scorpion's most famous songs, from 1990, "The Wind of Change"? It was like a Cold War song. Was like the intention of it was to bring down the Iron Curtain, I guess, which I'm not super familiar with. But I'll add it to the chat. But as far as like super far out there, and it's like, can we trust what we're seeing, and like, are we living in some weird like manipulated reality? And like, there's a theory out there. I think her name is Human Vibration JK, and she was on Sam Tripoli's podcast like a little over a year ago. She talks about John Benet Ramsey and like that whole saga from the 90s, or whatever. And she believes it's her opinion that John Benet Ramsey never existed. She's like a fake person. It's like a story that they just created. She doesn't actually exist. And then she also believes that Epstein doesn't actually exist. He's like a deep fake. That like the deep fake thing is just really taken over right now. Like the idea that we are now, like people on the internet are now able to deep fake celebrities and stuff. The idea being the CIA has been doing that for at least 20 years. And like, we don't really know what is happening, like as far as reality. And she thinks that MK Ultra is actually like it's like an acronym for like a certain color wheel, like magenta and yada yada. I'm not sure the details, but that like it's coding as like for like fake reality. That like the whole Epstein thing, he was basically just an account for them to use, and they created like his persona like after the fact, pretty much. Same with John Benet Ramsey and stuff, which is interesting. It's really out there, obviously, but it's interesting to me. And then one like tied to that, like the whole color thing. My friend Lindsay, like hosts her own podcast or whatever, she was talking about the purple conspiracy a few months ago, which I never heard of. But the idea being that like on the color wheel, purple, like all colors are the same. They're created equal, basically, like on the color wheel, except purple. Purple is like does something weird. It's like our brain adjusts to like see purple in a certain way. It's not actually the way that we perceive it. So that anytime you see any celebrity or politician or anything purple, wearing purple, associated with purple, then it's fake. Like whatever they're talking about is not real. It's fake. And like, I don't necessarily believe that, but that's pretty far out there as you can possibly go. That like a lot of what we see is like super deep fake, and that like it goes. There's just so many purple things. Like now that you've heard it, you're gonna start like seeing it, and it's like it's pretty compelling. I don't know if I believe it, but that's like kind of the sci-fi version of what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I think
a lot. But.
Yeah, it is a lot. So now this is the weird part. So it seems if you kind of take that back to the 80s, like kind of creating a movie star, right? Kind of a fake person, a deep fake person to be used as an asset somehow. It seems far-fetched, right?
Yeah.
Going back that far. But the technology we have now, you could easily do that, right? I mean, I'm sure you saw those TikToks of Tom Cruise, right? Where they completely deep fake Tom Cruise on the golf course or whatever. So, I mean, if we're doing that now, and remember DARPA, right? They're 30 years ahead of us. So if they were doing that stuff back then, it's all possible, right? That stuff is definitely possible. So just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, crazy stuff.
And,
so
and that's like
go ahead.
And that's like those Tom Cruise and Robert Downey Jr. keepsakes, whatever online. That's like people like me doing that. That's like just people on their laptop doing it. So the idea being perhaps it's more intricate, and it's like if you watch Entourage, this is like 15 years ago at this point, but James Cameron had a cameo. He was directing Aquaman in Entourage, and he made a joke being like, or like the main character's manager is like, yeah, pretty soon you guys aren't going to need actors because like the special effects are looking so good. And James Cameron's straight face goes, yeah, 5 years I'm not gonna. And then like he goes, oh, I'm just kidding. And that was like almost 20 years ago at this point, or that was like 2005 or whatever. And they were making jokes about it back then. And I've had theories that like if they haven't done it already, is one of these celebrities that we know just a creation. Like I think Angelina Jolie hasn't actually acted in a movie in like 10 years, and she's just like selling her likeness to like Maleficent and stuff, so they can just use her face to sell movie tickets. But in reality, she's never stepped foot on set. You know what I mean? They're just using her persona, her brand or whatever, and then that can go like way darker. You know, just make sure. I don't know. It's tough to trust our own eyes now. Like we live coming from an era where, at least for me, as far as like UFO videos or paranormal videos and stuff, I think they're fascinating and cool to watch, but like I don't believe any of them, because like you watch movies and Transformers and Avengers and stuff, they can do anything, you know? So like now take that step forward, and now in real life, can we trust like what's actually going on? It's interesting. I don't know. But that's like, I don't know if I believe that, obviously, but it's just, that's as far as I can take it, you know?
Yeah, and so
I'll
let's
try to find some more information about the color thing. But the color thing is like really interesting to me. I'll try to find some more stuff for it. It could be a whole episode.
Yeah, sweet. Love to do that. That would be amazing.
I gotta go. I'm sorry for rambling. I'm at work.
You're good. Okay.
Later, brother. Great
All right.
show.
Thanks, man. Catch you later. That's Derek from Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Again, you guys are missing out if you haven't joined the Discords. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link. Also go to fringe.fm/chat. Join those Discords because that's the type of folks you meet in there. All the great callers we get. Most of those folks are already in the Discord, and they're smart people, clearly, sharing amazing information. So I hadn't heard the purple one, that purple color thing. But if you think about it in terms of deep fakes and being these Hollywood people being phony assets, right? Phony CIA assets in some capacity. Think about what they're doing with like Michael Jackson and Tupac, right? Like you can see them perform as holograms, right? They're passed away, but coming to a theater near you, right? You're going to be able to go buy a ticket and watch Tupac or Michael Jackson or whoever from the old days actually show up in the flesh. Maybe Elvis actually does live. Elvis lives, right? Elvis is back in the building, but yeah, I don't know. Like that's the type of stuff. It's happening. Like it's definitely the technology is there, and we've talked about it with part of that plasma spoofing stuff with the Project Bluebeam and things like this, right? That stuff exists. That technology is real. And remember the voice of God, if you guys have been following this show, and some of that, the talking lasers, right? This stuff is real. This stuff is actually real. Yeah, great call, Derek. As always, appreciate that. Looking to hear from you guys, though. What do you think about this? About, again, the Hollywood being part of the CIA, or how deep does this go, right? Is it something that's, right, chill out, Michael Strange, too much conspiracy for you? Or do you think that this is really just the tip of the iceberg, and the CIA influence on everything goes extremely deep? That's the question tonight. Have they reformed? Well, yeah, there you go. Mike says the Grand Moff Tarkin CGI back in that Star Wars movie, right? With Princess Leia as well, the younger Princess Leia, the CGI in that movie. So, I mean, they're doing these things, right? And where it's not as convincing yet, it's about to be. Like this type of stuff is about to be. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Like I said, I figured the engagement would be lower because it's less interesting than aliens, but it is at this point, in my opinion, far more real of a threat. So I think we need to throw it in there from time to time. I think we need to talk about this stuff. I think we need to discuss it. I think we need to consider that, well, the world is not like we think it is. And yeah, that's the deal tonight. Love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Get in here. Let's hear about your thoughts on the CIA, Hollywood assets, and who knows, maybe this Michael Jackson and Tupac coming to a theater near you. Love to hear from you. More CIA conversation after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Talking about the CIA tonight. How deep do you think it goes with Hollywood, with disinformation, with basically the information war that we live in? Ashton Kutcher has been, speculated to be a CIA agent. Who else? Who else do you think? They reached out to Moby, says Derek, to access the social media to drop disinformation and propaganda. Well, what about Tom DeLonge and the whole UFO disclosure bit? Yeah, I don't know, right? Like, I think the more you think about exactly what's going on here and who's kind of pushing what type of information, it makes me suspicious. It makes me, as you know, like I haven't been a fan of that whole Tom DeLonge disclosure and that To the Stars since they began, because I'm suspicious. Why would the government reach out to, a guy who used to run around in his underwear playing rock shows, right? I mean, if you can call it that, and punk shows, whatever it was, right? I was never a fan of that band anyway, but it helps even more to put my nose up if it turns out this guy might be a CIA asset. And even so, let's say he's kind of not really inside the deep angle of this, just speculating here, I don't know. But imagine that they're using him for feeding him disinformation to spread out, and they're using him as a rube who believes the things they're telling him, right? And I think that's part of the problem here is why we can't trust anything. And as you see that, meaning information, we can trust each other. All right. Trust the people you love, trust your family. Don't forget about the important things, the most important things we can trust. All right. But I think that if you kind of extrapolate this to the larger aspect of what's actually going on social media wise with commercials, with, the jingles and the brainwashed jingles and things like this, it seems weird. No, it seems weird. It seems like we do live in that upside down. So anyway, I got some more CIA stories to tell you. We're going to talk about some of the more kind of benign stuff, that's still a little freaky, but we're not going to get into some really dark. That's another show, the MK Ultra stuff and whatever else. So anyway, but like I said, I'd love to hear from you. Rather than me go through some of this information, it is good because if you haven't heard of it, well, you're learning some stuff, and it's good. It's a good thing, right? I'm refreshing some stuff and learning some new stuff as well. It's all good, but I'd rather hear from you because, that's why we get together and talk about this stuff. So if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, and let's get to the CIA. Let's do it. Let's go look at this. And of course, we know, us being, let's say conspiracy buffs. Let's call ourselves that, right? As conspiracy theories, as they were. Knowing where this comes from, right? We know a lot of this stuff, but just as a refresher here for maybe some of you guys that know this stuff or not, let's do some of this. So this is the famous CIA operations, right? And this is from the infomori.com. Number one, Operation Paperclip. Everybody remember this? Is that, of course, after World War II, the Nazis were way ahead of us in missile technology and other technology, by the way. And so what did they do? They just took the actual top scientists and top Nazi scientists, and they assimilated them into the U.S. military and government and scientific community. Neat, right? That's totally neat. Nazis. Here we go. Operation Paperclip was a CIA program to recruit German scientists with an intention to brainwash them and prepare them to serve in the U.S. In 1945, U.S. President Harry, I almost said Harry Human, but I meant Harry Truman, ordered the execution of the plan on condition to exclude those to have been a member of the Nazi Party. Okay, really? Do you really think that? Really? Anyway, this would have excluded almost all of the German scientists. Therefore, the CIA whitewashed the public profiles of the German scientists and tailored their biographies to serve their purpose. About 1,600 scientists legally migrated to the U.S. These scientists played an undeniable role in the realization of the United States ballistic missile technology and space programs. The success of Operation Paperclip was therefore one of the most valuable services rendered by the CIA. Weird, right? Weird. Nazis. You know what I'm saying? It's like politically, if people don't agree with you, you just call them Nazis, right? Well, in the old days, they just recruited them and brought them over and said, hey, like if you were part of the Nazi party, well, it's inconvenient, but we really need your knowledge, so come help. Yeah. There you go. There's another one, right? There's all kinds of stuff here. And again, like I said, I'm just going to kind of buzz through some of this stuff. And it is a little bit of the lighter things, right? I mean, Nazis is not a light thing, but you get it, right? There's some really, really dark, insidious stuff that if you start digging into the CIA and what they're capable of and responsible for, it gets depressing, right? So we're not going to do that. But okay, but looking to hear from you instead. If you prefer, I prefer to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Phone number's up, and otherwise we're going to keep on trucking. Let's do it. Project Stargate. Everybody is familiar with this, right? We've done this many times with remote viewing and the rest of this. Check this out. Military intelligence and the CIA were of the opinion that the U.S. psychic research about some foreign countries was unreliable on account of possible Soviet disinformation. Both agencies, therefore, opined that research on exploring remote viewing should be conducted. Remote viewing is the psychic ability to see the events happening at remote distances through the use of paranormal capabilities like the use of ESP. That would be extrasensory perception. Researchers, however, concluded that telepaths were 80% of the time wrong. The information obtained through this method was not found scientifically reliable or strategically actionable. Therefore, the CIA canceled the costly project forever in 1995. Yeah, do you believe that? Once again, right? I think part of this too is that it's difficult for me to believe that they just gave up on particular programs, right? For whatever reason. Because, fruitless, right? This didn't work. It was too expensive. We spent too long on it. There was no information we got out of it, so we just canceled it. Well, many times they say they cancel projects and then they just kind of reboot them under a new name so that the FOIA trail goes cold. All the people that were involved in it, you lay them off or reassign them somewhere else unrelated, and then you have an entirely new group of people pop up under a new code name that has to play the cat and mouse FOIA game all over again, right? So you see, it's part of the game and how they do this. So like I said, when I hear that the government has shut down a particular program, never to revive it again, well, I get suspicious. I get suspicious. All right, there's more. The Bay of Pigs invasion. We've all heard of this, right? So the Bay of Pigs invasion, also known as Operation Zapata, was undertaken soon after JFK became the president of the United States. The purpose of the invasion was to overturn the communist Castro regime and to replace it with some more acceptable alternative. To divert attention from the U.S. involvement, Cuban exiles were trained for the operation. On April 17, 1961, an amphibious troop transport and 1,300 guerrillas were unloaded on a beach in the Bay of Pigs. Contrary to the expectations of the CIA, the Castro troops were already well informed of the possibility of this attack and were fully ready to counter it. About 2,000 Cubans and more than 100 invaders were killed, while 1,200 were captured, and many of them were executed under the orders of Fidel Castro. The remaining were freed in exchange for $53 million in the form of food and medicines for the Cuban people. Right? You see, CIA stuff. They don't mess around, right? They definitely don't mess around. And what's up? MJ says, no, they don't cancel the Remote Viewers Project. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying, right? I think that some of this stuff is not. It doesn't seem likely that they just gave up, especially if like Ingo Swann, I believe, Joe McMoneagle, I think, is the other guy that they used, the two most famous remote viewers that worked in a Stargate project. I think those guys in particular were notable, right? And now Courtney Brown of the Farsight Institute, farsight.org, and actually he recently came out, Courtney Brown, speaking of remote viewing. Courtney Brown recently said that he was dropped out of the Google indexes. So if you search for remote viewing, you can't even find him anymore. I didn't check to verify that, but that's exactly how these games are played, right? If they don't want you to believe remote viewing exists, then they'll just drop it from the zeitgeist by dumping it to the 10 millionth page down on Google, and people can't find you. And Courtney Brown is probably one of the most world famous actual remote viewers left. Like I said, Ingo Swann has passed away. I think Joe McMoneagle has also passed away from the Stargate project. I could be wrong there on him, but anyway, point is that these are the games that are being played, and so we have to be on the ball, right? So anyway, there's a little bit more. We'll read more of these things and consider this. Let's see. Angel Wing says, just like CIA has giants in Antarctica hanging in suspended animation, supposedly. I've never heard that one. That's a pretty good one. I've never heard that. So anyway, point being, I'd love to hear from you guys if you want to be part of the show. I got a few more of these that I'll read just to kind of give us an idea of what the CIA has been involved in. And like I said, it's just kind of some cursory stuff. I didn't want to go dark tonight because, well, it's Thursday, and it's, we call Thirsty Thursday, not a dark night. So that's what's going on with that. But all right, so let's continue reading this. But if you want to be part of the show, what are your takes on this? And we started with Ashton Kutcher, and Night Stalker brought up Moby, and I added Tom DeLonge to the fire. Who do you think is a CIA asset? And of course, Anderson Cooper we talked about. Do you believe that probably the biggest names in Hollywood, like maybe Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt, folks like this, Angelina Jolie, like maybe a Night Stalker suggested? What do you think? Is this something real or something imagined? Are we fooling ourselves? Is it too much tinfoil wrapped a little too tightly? I don't know. You tell me. All right, so let's keep on trucking here. So that was the Bay of Pigs. Here's another one. Operation Midnight Climax, and this is again most famous CIA operations. And so, like I said, most of these aren't super dark because, well, we're not trying to go there. But okay, Operation Midnight Climax was initiated by the CIA with the aim to explore the possibility of mind control through the use of drugs like LSD. Yep, the researchers wanted to study the effects of LSD on the involuntary users. Another, notably, notice the word involuntary, another intention was to find the possibility of using this drug for sexual blackmailing. Prostitutes were used by the CIA to administer the drug via food to the chosen subjects. After the CIA Inspector General staff discovered in 1963 that the agency was running a program involving the use of psychotropic drug LSD by unwilling people, the project became controversial. Oh, even within the agency, and was soon closed. The relevant files were destroyed, while only a few of them survived. Now, so even the CIA has controversial things, I guess, right? Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit strange to me. That like this doesn't even seem that bad compared to what they've been told to do in the past here. So there's a bunch of these. We can read a few more, but like I said, I'm going to break it off here for just a second from just going deep into these stories and looking to hear from you. And what do you guys think? Who should we expect is a CIA asset, and should we be suspicious of every notable person in the media and in Hollywood? Like I said, I don't know. These types of things are usually on the top of my mind. And if I see some talking head on television, well, television, you see, the TV. Like I said, it's no accident in the stream I put myself on a television because it definitely gives you some extra credibility, right? Once you're inside of the TV, well, people listen to you. But when I see somebody in the television itself, well, I get suspicious. So anyway, talking about the CIA and the rest of this, Game Vet says, we definitely know Pauly Shore is not part of the CIA. There you go. There you go. That's the stuff I want to hear. All right. Let's we got a phone call. Let's go to this, and then we'll keep on trucking. This is, looks like this is Paul from New Hampshire. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hi, Mike. How are you? Wow, this is kind of creepy.
Is it? Which part?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of it. Listen to what you're talking about. Just kind of jumped in and this, and then when I'm listening to you talk about, fruition, or what's those words you look for, confirmation, where, I was talking to my friend last night, hey, Bob, what are you doing? I'm listening to the talking heads. And talk about mind control. Well, I guess all you have to do is watch like 3 commercials in between every show you watch. Or have you seen Jeopardy lately, by the way, ever since Alex Trebek died? Now we have stupid questions and stupid answers, almost like Facebook. I mean, how many pages do we need where you ask, what did you have for dinner tonight? And what would you change about the recipe? My answer is I would have a guy with no kids, a girl with some other guy's kids. That's the part I'm leaving out of the recipe.
What the hell?
Where do we go with this, man? Acid? Yeah, I took that when I was younger. Did it freak me out? Oh, hell yeah, man. Just saying. But then again, I'm 53 years old, and the acid we had was really a lot better than what they're shoving down people's throats nowadays. Get ready for my rant, but are you kidding? Now it's all do this, do that. We're all racist. We're all misogynist. By the way, are you a misogynist and a bigot and a racist? I don't know. I might be a little racist, but I guess it's where I was brought up and what was taught to me. And apparently now all you have to be taught is how to hit like on Facebook and, answer that stupid question. So where are we going here? Where is this going? Is this ever going to end, Mike? Is it? Can you help me with this? Because I'm very confused.
I wish I could, even though I have the TV, the advantage of the television here, that I created myself, by the way. It's not, I don't know, man. That's the question tonight has this changed? Is it, my opinion is this, that the CIA and the full court press of information that they're trying to feed us with to brainwash us, I don't think has relented. I think it's probably amplified. And so we live in very much like we say the post-truth world. And given that, I don't even know what is the truth, and that's why I kind of steer clear of that term and that notion on this show, because I don't even think there is an objective truth anymore. I think by some malicious purpose, it's been washed out of the zeitgeist, because no matter what you say, you can always find some article or some scientist or some scientific paper that refutes the things you say. And so as a result, right, you can always be gaslighted into whatever narrative they want you to take up as a good little soldier. And I think that's the terrifying part about this is, if you don't pay attention to these things and it's not on the top of your mind all the time, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. And that's why I thought it was important to maybe bring this up. Like, I know it's probably a little less fun and interesting to talk about, but it is something that's a danger to us. It's a real, literal, credible threat, and I think that we need to be able to call it out for what it is. So that's why I'm talking about this tonight. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on CIA assets in Hollywood? Do you think that's a real thing, or do you think that's just a little tinfoil wrapped too tightly?
I think, Mike, you kind of nailed it in everything you just said as I'm sitting here watching this, and you know where I am. And, how do we get to the point where we can actually talk about these things without being censored, without being our First Amendment rights taken away? How do we get not political about this? But I think you kind of wrapped it up without saying it, and I can say it. It's political. This is where we are. This has become a political rhetoric of nothing more than how our government controls us. The CIA, the main thing in the government. Let's go CIA government, and that becomes political. Sorry to break it to all you guys out there that don't want to hear this, and the people that publish this stuff that don't want to put us out there for saying this, but that's what it is. And I just said this the other night. We are living in a world of avatars and masks, because people have told us to put a fake face on, and then when you come forward and you say your opinion, even though it's backed by fact, you're going to be shut down, you're going to be ridiculed, you're going to be labeled, and if you don't fall with the rhetoric of people that are, on one way or the other, on the disinformation campaign or information campaign. I know one thing: for every bit of disinformation that's out there, I can prove it with actual facts, what's fake and real, and it's not that hard for us to do. And dare I need to really rant about this, because I pretty much have summed it up just like you have, and maybe a little leaner words, but I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm going to go with it and roll with it. And I have to say, all you guys out there listening to this stuff, this guy is right on path with it. He's trying to be cool, and here we are. And there has to be somebody out there that actually hears this and believes it, because it's the truth. And when did we get to the truth? Are we ever going to get there, Mike? And you said it. It's getting worse now, and it's all political. That's not my view, by the way. I always say it's my opinion because I have to, so I don't get shut down. Well, this is the truth. It's not my opinion. It's the truth. And Mike, I think, will agree with me on that to a degree, because, it's what it is, guys.
Post-truth world, baby. It's a post-truth world. I appreciate the call, my friend. This is everybody follow Paul, the New Hampshire UFO Hunter. New Hampshire UFO Hunter on YouTube. He's got some pretty fascinating YouTube videos of UFOs, so go check him out. I appreciate the call, Paul. Anything else while we got you on tonight?
No, guys, I just want to say, again, wake up. Are you part of the woke crowd, or part of the people that are waking up? And I think anybody that's on this show is part of the people that are waking up, Again, like Mike said, check me out on YouTube and Facebook. I got some pretty good UFO footage, and I've been doing this for a while, and that's why I like Mike. And right back at you, Mike, you guys are awesome. Love what you're doing, as usual.
Appreciate it, my man. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Paul. Paul from New Hampshire. Have a great night. Thanks for the call. There you go. Simple as that, guys. If you want to be part of the show, dial the number. And as you see, I'll be nice to you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We have a couple minutes for you in case you want to squeeze in here and get your thought into the show. It is the CIA, right? This is the CIA. This is the world we live in, that post-truth world of the information war, of the battle over the gray matter inside of our head. That's really what this is about. And like I said, if I know it's a little slow paced, and we don't have any aliens to talk about tonight, and so some people tune out, some people check out. But I think this is probably more important than that other discussion, because it's real. It is a clear and present danger to people that think they know what's going on in the world, and they have no freaking idea. They have no idea at all. And unfortunately, like I said, this is not the truth show. This is not the answer show. This is the question show. And so we're going to keep asking these questions. And, if this is what the CIA wants, if this is what our taxpayer dollars gets us, disinformation campaigns aimed right back at us to make us really further a political agenda, like Paul was saying there, I don't like it. Like I've always said, this is... It pisses me off quite a lot that these campaigns are being used against us to brainwash us and make us believe things that aren't true. Yeah. So anyway, that's what the show's about. It's about asking these questions and trying to keep them on the top of our minds so that we don't fall for it. It's easy to fall for it, right? Like I got caught up there in some political rhetoric for a little while, and I was mean to my family and stuff, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like this stuff is dumb. These are not our talking points. These are their talking points, right? This has nothing to do with general people and elevating them through legislation or politics in any manner. It's basically a fabricated argument based on false premises on either side. It's awful, and so that's why I want to point it out. I want to talk about it, and yeah. So as we finish this up, you guys know the drill. We got a third hour of Troubled Minds coming up. If you're listening on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, or Periscope, or the podcast feed, if you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And as we finish, right? Don't give up. Continue thinking outside the box. Don't get gaslighted by people that are trying to tell you this is the political truth, and because of it, that's the world needs to follow. No, these are not the truths of the world. They are not. They are concocted BS to make us believe a bunch of stuff that is not the truth. And so, unfortunately, well, that's what we talk about on this show. But yeah, we're done. So as you know, this show goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. So Thursday is the end of the week for us. We will be on tomorrow, Friday, at about 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch if you want to come join Troubled Minds News. And also, don't forget this weekend, we'll be on Saturday with the Joe Roop, the Fringe-a-thon, the 24-hour stream or until Joe drops, that will start at 1 a.m. Friday night. Sorry, Saturday morning, 1 a.m. Friday night, just after midnight on Friday, right after the Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. So, all right, as we finish this up, like I said, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. So, sorry, no aliens tonight, but, well, we'll get back to that, of course. And, yeah, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. All right, what's up, guys? You know the drill. We're going to do the third hour of Troubled Minds, and we're going to take your phone calls. What do you think about this? What do you think about Ashton Kutcher as a CIA asset? What do you think about all the rest of Hollywood? What do you think about the post-truth world that we live in, and do you think that's intentional? There's still a lot of really big questions here. And, of course, if you look back into the known shenanigans of the CIA, it stands to reason that known or unknown shenanigans are continuing to happen. So that's what's on my mind tonight, and I want to make sure that we keep it on top of our minds as a community, as a concerned citizen that wants to see a better future for all people. And I don't think that, well, feeding us misinformation with our own tax money is the way to get that done. So anyway, one more hour of Troubled Minds coming up. Still taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. But we're going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be right back. Don't be shy. Looking to hear from you. Be right back. 2-minute break. 2-minute break. right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. This is the third hour. This is when things get weird. Well, at least weird enough that we can be a little bit more, less professional, let's say. I'm not trying to go into instantly dropping F-bombs or anything, but hell, if I wanted to, I could. How about that? All right, so as we continue, we're talking about the CIA tonight. We're talking about this post-truth world. We're talking about what Alex Jones has dubbed the information wars, as he called his show InfoWars. And what does this mean to you? Like I said, do you think this kind of conversation needs to happen from time to time, or are you bored? Are you not entertained, as Russell Crowe said in the Gladiator? And like I said, it's okay. I understand all the shows can't be spitting hot alien fire. Sometimes it's kind of important to back up and look around and see what's really happening in front of us and be able to remind ourselves that there's a danger out there. And the danger is that we have, unfortunately, government entities that are using our own tax money against us to fool us, to brainwash us, to make us consider things that are just not true. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. So I think it's worth talking about. I think it's worth thinking about. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it tonight. So anyway, Thirsty Thursday. Cheers to you out there. I've got a little bit of whiskey here. And that's what we're doing tonight. Just kicking it, hanging out, and yeah, there we go. All right, so that's the deal. What's up, Coffee McQueen? I see you there on D Live, slowly waking up. What's up, my man? Welcome to the stream. Okay, all right, so let's do it. I got more CIA stories. I'm going to read some more of this because it's literally endless, and so it depends on how dark you want to go and how deep you want to go down these rabbit holes, right? But I'm gonna try and keep it just a little bit, a little more on the less dark side. That's what I'm trying to do tonight. So anyway, I'd love to hear from you guys if you want to be part of this conversation. What is your take on this? We started with Ashton Kutcher being a possible CIA asset and kind of giving a shout out to on social media to the CIA for keeping us safe through the the guise of security, national security, right? It's always about national security, is it not? What's up, Mike D? I see you there on D Live. Thanks for showing up. What's up? There it is. There it is. Chili Bunny. Great content as always. Thank you. That's very nice. That's very nice. Okay, but looking to hear from you guys. Midnight chicken nugget munchies. Yeah. All right. Get me an order of those, please. With how about some sweet and sour? Oh, yum. Okay, so yum. The jib nugs. They're called, right? Jib nugs. All right. Anyway, I'm just kidding. All right. I mean, I'm kind of not, but I kind of am. But all right, let's go. More CIA stuff to talk about. More stories. But as always, love to hear from you. You guys know where to find the phone number, and I'm going to keep putting it up on the stream here. But okay, right? So was Chuck Barris a CIA asset, right? We talked about that. Thank you, Robert, for the link there. Who else did I miss? This is a social stream now. We don't have to be so ridiculous, and with the pace, we can slow down a little bit, take our time. What's up? Michael is out there. What's up? Robert says, yep, Paperclip allowed the Third Reich to keep alive. So over the decades, those Nazis are burrowed deep into our government agencies. And now their progeny have taken over everything. And there you go, right? And yeah, what could go wrong by taking a bunch of eugenicists, right, into the government, into the high places of government, right? Yeah, that's sick. What's up, Michael? CIA and mind control. Exactly right. Who else? What's up, Sherry? Thanks for showing up tonight. Michael says Nancy Pelosi looks like Skeletor. Well, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you got to call a spade. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What's up, Diane? How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Who else is out there? Robert says Space Ghost was a spook. Well, probably not that kind of spook. What's up, guys? All right. Who did I miss? Who did I miss out there? Doombot, Chili Bunny. All right, guys. I see you out there. Okay, let's keep on trucking with some of these CIA stories. All right. Now we talked about Stargate, right? Stargate Project Stargate, Bay of Pigs, Operation Midnight Climax, which somebody said sounded like a '70s porno, which it kind of does, doesn't it? How about this one? These are ones you may or may not have heard of. How about Operation Phoenix? Here we go. Again, straight from this article from Infirmary.com, famous CIA operations. Here we go. What's up, guys? I see you out there. Mike D. Nancy looks like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. Just saying. Well, she's not the only one, though. Mitch McConnell looks like, well, it looks, well, anyway. Yeah. Oh, you want some F-bombs? No F-bombs. We're not going to do frivolous F-bombs. We're going to F-bomb for a reason over here. All right? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. Nathalie says, when are you on Saturday so I can watch for it? So I'll be on Saturday at the same time. So we'll do Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And so we'll be on YouTube and all the rest of the stuff like we always do. And Joe Roop will be with us. So I think Joe's going to stay up all night and be part of the whole deal. Like it's kind of his deal to like stay awake. Like that's the whole gimmick. So he's going to be in and out, weaving in and out of our shows as the rest of the fringe hosts do their take a chunk here or there. So you may see me on Friday night when he starts as well, like about 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I'm usually awake, so I told him I'd hop in and help him get it started and kick it and stuff. So that's what's going on. So I will I know it's up late for a lot of folks, but some of the folks maybe in the UK it'll be in the morning. So I will when I do go live, I'll post it in the Discord. So if you haven't actually joined the Discord yet, well, like I said, like I always say, you're missing out. TroubledMinds.org, click the Discord link. All right, so Operation Phoenix we'll get to in just a second because, well, we've got Beechwood on the line. See, Beechwood knows. He's like, damn it, nobody's calling, so Mike can't sip the whiskey, and he's not even going to have a buzz by the end of the show. And yeah, well, there we go. So we're going to go to Beechwood, and looks like we got Sam just after that. I appreciate the calls, guys. Beechwood, welcome back. What's on your mind, my friend?
I'm back. I'm still thinking about the CIA. I think you can relate it to like every topic ever. Like I'm surprised people don't mention it on like every show. They're elusive, and when you look at like the history of the CIA, like the famous CIA, KGB, and like Hollywood glorifies it, the spy game, and they got all the cool gadgets and stuff. But there could be people that were in the CIA like their whole lives and nobody ever knew. And that's the way that it stayed. Like, where's the stockpile of information? And then, like I said earlier, when you start mentioning people, the names just keep rolling. Like all the people. You mentioned a bunch of them, but if you sit there and think, they just keep coming. It's too many to say that they're not involved, and they don't come off as like crime-busting organization, more as like an influencers. If they have their foot in everything, they don't get in trouble for anything. And then, like, if you want to wrap the tinfoil hat on like really tight, you can take it any direction you want. Like for the sake of entertainment, even you could say Kennedy was a Russian spy. That's why they assassinated him. They knew. Nobody knew. You could say half the CIA is Russian spies. You could say the show is all code and we're all Russian spies. Like that's. And because they're elusive like that, it actually makes people think like that. They're mysterious, so I think sometimes you don't even know which way you're facing when you start talking about it and what they're up to. But as far as their influence in Hollywood, I say definitely, without a doubt, to gather information, to follow the trail. And you look at like movies and entertainment that we have, and it does have a big influence on people. And I suppose it's changed over time. But I remember when I was a little kid, when I saw like the movie Jaws, that scared me. I was afraid to go in the water because I saw the movie. And I mean, I got over it, but it was scary. So it influenced me. So yeah, they could decide what's popular, what's not popular. Allegedly, they assassinate people all the time, so, and they don't get in trouble for it. It's just, rumors. Prince, that's another one. People say, they got to him. But yeah, just a lot of things. I'd say they have their foot in everything, and I'm just surprised more people didn't mention it. Like, just for like way back down the road, when you talk about everything, UFOs, extraterrestrials, and then Hollywood glorifies it so much too, with like the spy game, you don't know what's real. And allegedly, I've heard both too, that they recruit young. And they have a website, you can put in an application. But if you're a spy, like why would you say that you work for the CIA and you're a spy? You're caught. So if they do that, that's like a it's powerful. There's a lot of different scenarios that happen. So, like, potentially someone that's in the CIA that has, like, all these credentials could go up to somebody and be like, you're going to be in the CIA. We're going to recruit you. We need you to do this. It's a crime, but you won't get in trouble. That person goes and does it because they believe it. And then when they get in trouble for it, they start ranting that they're in the CIA and they just look like a fucking crazy person.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, the guy that's really in the CIA can just be like, I'm not in the fucking CIA. What are you talking about? You're a lunatic. Yeah. And then you get, you get fucked. You get blackmailed.
And here we are again, right? So, and I think kind of like with that, we talked about MK Ultra, the Monarch programming, things like this. It's the same sort of conversation to me, meaning that how deep does it go? So sure, we know it exists, right? We know the CIA kind of has their hands in everything, but how deep does that go? Like some have speculated, and I kind of agree that the CIA is probably behind Q, right? So for probably a lot of different reasons there, right? To maybe radicalize and immobilize the fringe on the right side, right? Because they need the enemy, they need the boogeyman. So even if they didn't maybe concoct Q or the 17th letter, let's say, so we don't get flagged here, but if they didn't create it, they definitely, I'm pretty sure, helped boost it and get it to the point, and they used it for the purposes they needed, right? And that's the type of stuff. It's like, really? Like this is what our tax money is going to for them to set us up. And, it's not okay. This is not, again, right? Like so much of this is just not okay that part of the Upside Down, people don't give a shit, right? They're more excited about the baseball game or the football game or the soccer game than they are passionate about shit like this, you know? It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing culture we live in because it is truly the Upside Down, right?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, sometimes it can be frustrating. I still have, the world of Beechwood, which exists in society. It's only me, but, I make it the best I can. But yeah, you're right. All that stuff is true. But, this show, I like Night Stalker calls all the time. He always says good stuff. But he'll understand what I'm going to ask right now when he was saying about, like someone's persona. And like you can steal that and use that. And I always wonder that, like, where our consciousness comes from. Like, there's different people. Some people are just charismatic. Like, they just have an appeal to them, like an aura to them. There's something about them. And I wonder, like, where that comes from and why that is. And, you see it in Hollywood a lot. You see someone like Elvis, someone like Johnny Cash. People say it all the time. There's just something about them. He could read anything, and it's just gold. But yeah, I don't know. That was it. I just thought it was a good show, and I think, like, when you do research and think about stuff like this, I think you should always keep, like, the CIA on the back burner as to a direction to face, and just do research.
Agreed, and consider that they may be behind all the things that we're thinking, right? Like you think it's an original thought, but it's not. It's been fed into your brain by this huge mass media complex that's run basically by the CIA. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's it. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep punching. We'll keep looking in the right direction, I hope. We got calls behind you, so we got to run. So final thought, what we got you on, my man?
Oh, nothing much. That was really just it. I just wanted to say that, I don't think I think you can relate it to every other show. Well, not every other show, but I think it was a great topic. Like, it shouldn't be, pushed off. And I'm going to be, like, it's one of the ones I didn't want to mention it. I've always wanted to mention it and bring up, like, a CIA show, but I didn't, like, I don't know. You know how they watch everything. And how they're watching us now.
We just got added to another list tonight.
No, I think it was awesome. And I think it's awesome people are calling, so I want to hear what they say.
Right on.
But
right on.
Yeah, great show. Thanks for having me on, and enjoy your whiskey, my friend.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to come join us Friday night late and also Saturday at 7 for more Troubled Minds this week. We got bonus time. So we got let's go to Sam in Florida, and then I see you there, Axel. We'll go to you right after. Okay, Sam in Florida. You're on the show with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike. Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Just thinking about terrifying stuff, like we do on Troubled Minds. What do you think about the CIA stuff?
Hey, yeah. Well, here's with my 26 years of being a law enforcement and retired from it, here's my opinion, or what I see. The more outlandish, the better for plausible deniability. So when y'all talk about Chuck Barris and Ashton Kutcher and stuff like that, believe me, that's exactly what the CIA is going to do, is do something that they're going to be able to say, no, it's not real. So, and Hollywood is definitely used to disseminate information and to influence our nation. I think that there's probably more people in bed with the CIA than you could even begin to think, because that's what they do. That's what their job is. It's not supposed to be on our own nation's soil, but they do. Look at the media. The media is totally in bed with CIA. John Brennan, look, he was former head of CIA. What does he do now? He's a talking head
on CNN.
One of the news agents.
Yes, he is.
CNN, yeah.
Yep.
You don't think he isn't spreading disinformation?
Hell yeah, he is. Or what about Mike Pompeo?
Yeah.
Former head of the CIA. He's all over Fox News and CNN.
Right. So, it's it's out there. They're weaponized all this stuff against us, I believe. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it? So you think it's everywhere? You think it's ubiquitous? That they're in Hollywood and everywhere else, and we have to watch out, don't we? I think that's probably the bottom line here.
I'll give you a quick example.
Sure.
I was working intake one time, and we had received a federal inmate, and we were supposed to hold him for whatever reason. And I think we held him there in our unit there, the agency, for about 5 days. And so one of the things in intake, you have to do a NCI check on, on these people. You got to make sure all the paperwork's right and everything, from where you received them from, all this. So this guy came from the FBI. And so we ran the background on it and everything checked out. And so we held him there for 5 days. These federal marshals come and pick him up. And so once they signed all the paperwork and they left, I went and ran the check on it, and there was no information. The FBI had no information. The state had no information. The county had no information. It was all gone. So I ran the check like 10 times throughout the day, and this guy didn't exist.
What in the world?
But he did.
He was right there in front of you.
You don't think that stuff doesn't happen. It does.
And for whatever reason,
anyway.
Good stuff, man. Like that's the type of stuff we need to hear. People that have been working in some capacity to see how these cover-ups develop. Let me ask you real quick before you go. So, do you think that it's probable that the CIA is who got Epstein and possibly McAfee?
I think I wouldn't put it past them having Epstein. I wouldn't put them past them having Bin Laden somewhere.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Nobody's ever seen that body, have they?
Yeah. And Epstein, I mean, he had the goods on a lot of people, and probably he had the goods on a lot of people because he was an asset.
Exactly. We've talked about this in the past.
If you think back to the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover had the goods on so many people that's why he stayed in his office for the number of years, the 20s all the way up to the 60s or 70s. Yep.
Because he had dirt on presidents. They couldn't get him out. Yeah.
Exactly. He had the dirt on everybody.
Yep.
So, Anyway, good show, Mike, and I'll let you get to your next caller.
I appreciate it, my friend. Sam from Florida, thanks for the call. Great stuff as always. There you go, guys. If you want to be part of the show, simple as that. I'll be nice to you. We're just having a conversation here, considering the CIA and all the things that they're into, right? Is it just Hollywood? Is it just disinformation propaganda? Is it more than that? 702-957-1037. Let's go to Axel on Discord. Axel Steele, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
That's all right. No sweat.
Okay. I'm on the, am I gone? Am I here?
You're here. You're still here.
Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? I wanted to take this back and let's figure out if Ashton Kutcher is working with the CIA or not.
Okay, how?
Well, there is something suspicious going on with him. He certainly has connections with other people that work for the CIA. Did you know that him and Demi Moore started an anti-child trafficking NGO back in 2012?
I did not.
Yep, it's called Thorn. It seems to mostly exist as a way to, well, the only thing I could figure out it actually does is give surveillance equipment to law enforcement organizations for free, like facial recognition software and stuff like that.
Of course.
And
of course.
And they do seem to be all very close. They seem to work very closely with federal law enforcement. Your listeners can't see this, but I'm putting my glasses on the edge of my nose and looking over the rims at you when I say it's a child trafficking NGO that works closely with federal law enforcement.
Right.
But
right. I got you.
it also, but it does have some interesting board members. I thought maybe I would talk briefly about two of them.
Sure.
One of them is a guy by the name of Joe Lonsdale, who is one of the co-founders of Palantir, the CIA-funded data harvesting company that was created in about 2012, that for the first 3 years of its existence, all its funding and its only client was the CIA. So he's on the board of directors of this organization. He was accused by his then girlfriend in 2015 of sexual assault, amongst other things, that all seems quite seedy in a civil lawsuit, although that civil lawsuit went away a couple years later. It's a little unclear what happened, but this is a guy that at least has faced serious accusations of sexual impropriety in the past. So one might question what he's doing on a anti-child trafficking board, but let's not worry about that. So that guy right, but he clearly works for the CIA, or at least did. I mean, he is the co-founder of a huge corporation that the CIA was its only client for years. It was largely funded by CIA money, as a way to get around their restriction on doing data harvesting in the United States directly. So that's a guy that's on the board of directors of a company he founded. The other guy that I think is more somewhat sinister and interesting is this guy by the name of Aaron Allen. Now, no one's probably heard of him. There's this other NGO that basically is funded directly by the Justice Department. It's called the National Board to Stop Child Trafficking or something like that. It's been around since the mid 80s. It's the NGO that runs the Amber Alerts.
Really?
And that kind of thing. Yep. His name's Aaron Allen. He was the CEO of that NGO for 25 years. It was founded in the mid 80s during the Reagan administration. Now, the thing that makes him sort of interesting, well, once again, looking over my glasses, I say there's this Department of Justice funded NGO that is supposed to stop child trafficking. But I don't know have you ever heard of the Ducot scandal in Belgium?
No, doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, so the 30-second version, is in the mid 90s. It was this giant child sex trafficking scandal. Also involved child murder. You can just Wikipedia it. It's DOU.
I remember.
COUX.
I remember.
Yeah.
You rung the bell. I got it.
Yeah. It basically implicated every single important person in Belgian politics, and Belgian politics still hasn't recovered from it. However, our friend Aaron Allen, he was invited by then Prime Minister of Belgium to set up a branch of his stateside NGO in Belgium. I don't have the quote in front of me because I'm not at my computer right now. But basically, she quoted as being like, he has been so successful in the United States, we want him to set something up like this here to help us. And there is this other organization, it's like the International Board of Stopping Child Trafficking, which he did set up. Now, I can't say what the domestic NGO does, but I will tell you that the NGO that they set up in Belgium basically existed so that all the complaints directed at Belgian politicians about child sex trafficking could go in the trash can and make sure that no one of any importance in Belgian politics went down for anything, which is what ended up happening. Like a handful of like low-level pimps went to jail. A bunch more people mysteriously died, but no important politician who was implicated went to jail. So I'm just saying, I think maybe she did in fact hire him for all the success that he had in the United States and did want him to replicate that over in Belgium.
with basically the cover-up front organization that's taking the investigations of the child sex trafficking per se and putting them inside of this, the memory hole.
Yeah, it's so strange how we don't have like a national board for coordinating murder investigations, but we do have one for coordinating child trafficking. It's almost like it's good if you think child trafficking is going on, there's someone else you can call that will decide whether or not they're going to do anything about it. But so this guy, this Aaron Allen guy, he's also on the board of Aaron Kutcher's NGO. The other thing I wanted to really briefly say about him is that if you remember when Backpage got shut down in I think 2016, 2017, it was this thing being run by Village Voice Media that basically existed as a clearinghouse for like sex workers to sell ads. But there always have been problems with it where like, I think at one point, like 70% of the human trafficking cases turned out to be, like in sex trafficking, turned out to be people like whose services were being sold on Backpage. And the thing about Backpage was that the feds, including this Aaron Allen guy, protected them for years where, there's documents where like when they finally did get charged, the lawyers for Backpage were like, the National Board of Trafficking, Allen's NGO, they've been huge allies of ours. We've been working with them. And I believe it. But the thing about it is that they didn't get shut down by the feds. What happened was that eventually California and Texas got sick of Backpage enough that they filed charges against them in state court. And so you didn't have these federal NGOs running interference for them anymore, and they got shut down. The actual owners of it ended up going down for like tax evasion or something. But yeah, this guy was basically seems to have been running cover for Backpage for like years in the teens. So the answer is, does Aaron Kutcher have connections with people who work for the CIA? Yes. Does he have a very suspicious NGO that seems to be up in its neck with people who have covered up government-involved child trafficking in the past? Also, yes. So people could do their own math. Oh, the other thing, real quick, last thing. This doesn't have to do with his NGO, but he also has a investment fund that has two other co-founders. One of which is this guy by the name of I have this written down, so I want to be not totally inaccurate. Ronald Burkle, who's this big Silicon Valley funder for the Democratic Party, like employed Bill Clinton for a while as like an advisor on some of his investment funds. And this guy, who is the co-founder of Kutcher's investment fund, also clearly the guy that really had money behind it, also appears in Epstein's Black Book and his logbook, where he was on the Lolita Express going to Africa with Bill Clinton. So there's another, I don't know if you want to call that a CIA connection, but as always, Epstein's lurking around here in the shadows somewhere in all these cases. I'm just saying, I mean, it seems like Aaron Kutcher could have shut down some sort of trafficking operation if he knew a guy that knew Epstein. Just putting that out there.
Right. So there's a huge network, and basically they're creating all these shadow organizations to cover for exactly what we've always considered. I'm saying that I'm speculating. I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, I'm not making any accusations against anyone, but I'm just saying that I mean, it doesn't seem like any of the. I never hear about these places ever shutting down any trafficking operations. That's all I'll say.
Okay, all right. So I'll retract that as well. I'm not going to accuse these people. I don't know either, but it does seem suspicious that a lot of the folks that they're kind of in partnerships with have some pretty sketchy ties. I think we could leave it at that.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, so I figured I'd call in and tell you what I knew about this little corner of Hollywood perverts.
Appreciate that. So how deep does it go then, you think?
I really don't want to. I mean, it's hard. I mean, and I think I don't know if I've said this on the show before. When you look into parapolitics, it's really hard to get away from the case that like there isn't any real clear boundary between the CIA and organized crime and finance. Basically, they're all messed up together. Also, Aaron Kutcher started his career modeling for Victoria's Secret, not Victoria's Secret, sorry, Abercrombie and Fitch, which is also owned by the Victoria's Secret guy, who, of course, is the guy that signed over his power of attorney to Epstein and gave him all his money. So you got a connection there, too. Like, his sort of entertainment career started working for the Victoria's Secret Ohio weirdo. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, these groups, they're just not distinct entities. I don't have a good grip on exactly how involved they are. I think the last caller has it right, though, where it's more people than you think, probably.
Which doesn't surprise me a single bit. So we're going to take this stance we're going to take a quote from Hillary Clinton and say, just because there's smoke doesn't mean there's fire. Come on, guys. Get a grip.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Smoke, no fire. All right, it goes deep, man. This is a deep conversation. And again, I think you're right. You have to be a little bit careful because one, just because you have some slimy connections doesn't necessarily mean you're that guy. Maybe they're taking advantage of him because of his money. Maybe he's being blackmailed. Maybe he's not involved at all. Right. Who knows? Like there's a whole lot of what ifs in between there. So it is difficult to be able to point fingers and say, well, this guy did this. Well, let's see some evidence first. But yeah.
Well, he knows him well enough that according to him, he's like, in the tweet or whatever, he was like, I spent a day picking the brain of a CIA guy. So, I mean, he knows people that knows them well enough that he's like hanging out with them. I mean, I have like a third degree connection with someone who works with the CIA, but like, I don't hang out with people who work for the CIA during the afternoon all day.
or get exclusive access to picking their brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About child trafficking, presumably. Although to be fair, they would be who you'd want to ask if you wanted to know about it. So I guess they got that going for them.
That's true. That is true. All right. Good stuff. Anything else while we got you on, my man?
That was it. Good show, Mike. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's Axel Steele. He's the Dungeon Master. If you guys didn't catch our role-playing extravaganza, he's the guy. He's the Dungeon Master that set it up. And I do recommend you guys check that out. It's on the YouTube channel. And Ash and I play the roles of some investigators that are on the trail of a murder and a suspicious something or other. So I won't spoil it for you, but part 1 is up on YouTube if you want to check it out. That's Axel Steele. He's our Dungeon Master. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, right? So I actually didn't do what he described there. I didn't go dig because sometimes when you do that, right, you can make a pretty good case. And I kind of didn't want to make a pretty good case. You know what I'm saying? I kind of wanted to leave it super vague. Because who knows? Again, like I said, I still believe in the right to due process. So there's that, right? And again, we're just speculating. I'm just an idiot on the microphone or on the internet with a microphone, right? Knucklehead, that's me. Knucklehead number 1. So this stuff, it is a little bit creepy, right? Like how deep some of the intelligence ties go, and what this means, right? What it means for like a larger. Kind of a larger scope of just everything else, from propaganda to these weird maybe shadow factions of these who knows anyway. What's up, Tam Bam? What's up? I see you on Facebook. Thanks for showing up. I copy you. I see the frustration there. I get it. What's up, Sherry? Says the brain on this guy. Yeah, right. Axel's on the ball. Axel's on the ball. When I'll be honest with it, when he first came out and started talking about this stuff, I was like, is he just making this shit up? But the more I talk to Axel, the more I'm like, oh yeah, the guy seems to know some things. So yeah, definitely. So there you go, Axel. I admitted it when I first met you. I thought you may have been full of shit. I have changed my mind. All right, let's go. We're still talking about the CIA, guys. We're talking about again how deep this goes into the propaganda and the rest of this stuff, and what does it mean? What does it mean for you, and what does it mean for the future? Like I said, we've reformed our ways, right? As people, we turned the corner. We don't need weapons to defend ourselves because, well, it is what it is. We were evolved, enlightened citizens, and violence is just grotesque in this day and age, right? Well, right. Then why does the government need guns? I ask. Okay, there's more. Here's some other stuff. This is from listverse.com. Here's a list of 10 dirty secret CIA operations. So, yep, if you wanted it, you got it. This is a CIA show talking about all kinds of weirdness, and that's what we're doing tonight. So, again, as always, I'm going to go through just a few of some of this weird stuff. I was reading through a bunch of this, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how deep some of this CIA stuff goes. CIA. And I'm going to read this because this is kind of in line with what Axel was describing here. I have no idea why my chat client just completely logged out. But okay, here we go. Whatever. I still got, so if you guys are on Periscope or DLive, I'm not going to be able to read your chat. I can only see Facebook and YouTube right now. So anyway, there's only a little bit left of the show anyway. So all right, let's go to this. Right now, this is from Listverse again. Top 10 dirty secret CIA operations. Let's go to this one. This one is interesting because, well, it is related to what Axel was talking about there. This is number 8. CIA produced pornography. Oh, yep, that's right. President Sukarno ruled Indonesia from 1959 until 1966, when he was deposed by Suharto, one of his generals. Sukarno had been deemed pro-communist by the CIA, which meant there would inevitably be an attempt to oust him or at least make him look bad. But the plot they actually came up with was truly laughable. Yep, the CIA produced a porno film starring a Sukarno lookalike titled Happy Days for distribution in Indonesia. Not that the culture generally frowns upon such things, but the CIA understood it, being tricked, deceived, or otherwise outsmarted by one of the creatures God has provided for man's pleasure cannot be condoned in Indonesian culture. Of course, anyway, I won't elaborate. You can fill in the blank there. What we were saying was that a woman had gotten the better of Sukarno. The film went as far as production, and stills were made, but for some reason, perhaps common sense, it was never deployed. Bizarrely enough, this idea resurfaced shortly before the Second Gulf War, when the CIA suggested that a fake gay porno featuring Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden be produced in order to discredit these men in the eyes of their followers. This went nowhere, at least one official claiming that nobody would care. Quote, trying to mount such a campaign would show a total misunderstanding of the target. We always mistake our own taboos as universal when in fact they are just our taboos. Yep, right there. You got it. Crazy stuff, right? Right there. And who's got the idea, right? Like, oh, we're the CIA. I know. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create some pornography, right? That seems, well, convenient, doesn't it? I don't know. This is again, right? How deep does this go? Like I said, it's probably not a rabbit hole you want to chase to the conclusion, because the conclusion for you is probably not a good thing. Like as we found out, if you poke around too deep in Hollywood and things like this, very much like somebody mentioned Corey Feldman in the I think that was Matt that said Corey Feldman. It's a shock he's still alive. Like what's going on with this, right? Like they've said that some of the largest, biggest names in Hollywood are involved in these child sex type things. So I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to keep on going here. There's more to talk about. As always, there's an unbelievable number of shady stuff the CIA has done, and I've got lists to talk about this for 10 hours. So, but let's do this before we do that. Let's talk to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey,
yeah, so I was listening, and CIA stuff is pretty cool. Actually, there's just tons of stuff, isn't there?
Seems to be.
Yeah. Well, look, okay, the one guy brought up, it was Matt Chapman. He was bringing up Chris Cornell and Chester Burgum, or however you say his last name. And I mean, there's that whole thing that they were researching the child trafficking thing, which is kind of off. I mean, we were just chatting in the chat room, but I think it's weird about Ashton Kutcher because he actually had he was promoting this, like the last caller mentioned, promoting this huge in-depth research about trying to break the whole child trafficking thing and doing a lot of research about it. So I don't think he was, why would you be trying to break it and be so impassioned about it at the same time being involved in it? So I don't think he is involved in anything like that. And I don't think that everybody in Hollywood are, a bunch of diddlers or anything like that. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think so. But who knows? But as far as CIA stuff, I think that it's really interesting about, there's Project Mockingbird, and we've all heard about that. And, where they were the CIA was trying to influence what society thought through the media and different news stories. And they were brought up in front of Congress and the House of Representatives and everything having to talk about that and admitted it. So we know that. And if we look at MK Ultra, so they were involved in that, a long time ago. A lot of people think it's still going on, and it could be, of course. But of course, if they were doing that, and we think a lot of Hollywood stars are MK Ultra, then it would completely tie into the Mockingbird thing, that they're trying to influence how they view the world and what they think about. And of course, they would use Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood only came around like right after World War II. So a lot of, people who were the first big stars and names in Hollywood came around in I think it was like the 40s. And so about the same time, it wasn't much longer after that you start hearing about Mockingbird and all of that. So I think that they are definitely in Hollywood. And some people even think that, and I don't think it's necessarily true, but that a lot of, you have to go into that whole MK Ultra stuff. But I mean, a lot of people have covered that and talked about it. But there's also Project Alice with the CIA, which is like this thing about an Alice in Wonderland type of programming where you tell society a lot of different information. So they become confused and disoriented, and it breaks them down. They become exhausted from all the different information they're hearing, and a lot of information very conflicting, so that their world kind of turns upside down, and they're easier to manipulate that way because they don't know any longer what's real and what's not. So you have that too. And with Hollywood, with Hollywood films, we see a lot of stuff involving, they know things that they shouldn't, like they kind of predictive programming, that idea. So, and there are supposedly whole towns around the United States that have been nothing but CIA. And I've heard stories about that, wherein a person may be traveling along and come into a town where everyone in that town might be CIA. So that's really strange too. And the houses, they flip over and they really don't, it's all kept within that whole vicinity. So yeah, it's beyond conspiracy because it's all fact, with these different things, with the towns that are actually CIA towns, small towns, where everyone is working that way. And so it's just all kinds of odd with CIA stuff. But of course, too, a lot of people think that's an international alphabet. It's one of the agencies that deal in international affairs. So that's why people bring up the child trafficking thing and think there might be a connection. But literally the child trafficking thing is like a whole nother big, huge thing that has been talked about. And I think that it's just so dark that, but yeah, I remember Ashton Kutcher and the Demi Moore thing. Demi was involved in, it doesn't matter, but she was involved in all kinds of strange stuff too. But yeah.
Yeah, well, don't we all have shadow organizations, right? Whatever. No, but so I think the thing too is that it is dark, right? And so you start going down these rabbit holes, and so we actually stopped. We were doing the show with the original co-host, and we got to a dark place with adrenochrome and this whole bit, right? And it was just like we spent
God,
we spent a couple 3 weeks and about the blood of youngsters, right, back to those old legends that you can bathe in the blood of young people and it will rejuvenate you, and so things like this, right? And it goes to some dark places.
End. If you try to go that way, it just doesn't stop because it goes on and on.
Yeah, it nearly broke the show. We nearly quit because it was just like you get to a point where you're just like you're making yourself sick. You're talking about these things, thinking about these things, and as they say, right, the saying goes, if you stare into the abyss eventually, has a way of staring back at you, and that's not good. It's not a good place to be.
No, I agree. Yeah, but yeah, I think with the Mockingbird thing, that we know for sure. I mean, that's something that was, it was declassified information, all of that, and also with the MK Ultra. So of course they'd be coming if they're coming for the media, coming through the media and falsifying, kind of setting things up in the news stories to kind of present the idea they want to present. It wouldn't be far-fetched if they wanted to deal with that they would also be dealing with all forms of entertainment that the people are observing. And so, of course, Hollywood included, they would be having their hand in that. And very likely then, not necessarily Ashton Kutcher, because I think he was doing a movie or something. I don't know if he was actually, anybody could be, because there's just no way to know. And also, too, a lot of people work for the CIA and aren't like deep spies, but they have different functions they aren't even aware of. Like if somebody was CIA, no one really knows, and they might not even know what their purpose is for them. They're just kind of doing their thing and being told what they're supposed to be doing, and they're not sure what the purpose actually is. And there are people all the time who are victims of that kind of thing and don't even know why. I mean, a lot of people talk about serial killers too. There's the big serial killer circuit. People have found that, researched that a lot of them could possibly be like the Hand of Death cult and everything, that they may be to a project of the CIA, rather than, for example, the big satanic panic that was going on. That it's a bunch of satanic cults had infiltrated government. That it's the other way around, and the government, for example, the CIA, perhaps, actually controls them and created them. So there's a lot of weird stuff.
A lot of weird stuff. Exactly. So it's the whole thing, right? When you search out the radicals, but then you give them the means of doing terrible things, who's the terrible person, right? Like, is it you basically, we have government agencies radicalizing people and giving them, the quote materials to do terrible things. So if they had never met these government operatives, would they have ever taken that step? I think it's a philosophy worth thinking about for sure, huh?
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, not to carry on, but Henry Lee Lucas was known to be down in like the whole Jonestown thing that was going on. Mm-hmm. He was down there for some reason at one point, and that's documented. But then also, he was supposedly never convicted of it, but had killed like hundreds of people, but only was convicted of 11. Did I get disconnected?
Nope, you're here.
Oh, okay, my phone sometimes. But anyway, though, so he was convicted of 11 victims, Henry Lee Lucas, the Hand of Death cult, and all that. But what's really strange about that is that he was pardoned by George W. Bush Jr., Bush Jr. in Texas in like 2000. I can't remember what year that was. But yeah, he was pardoned, and so he actually didn't even get the death sentence. So, and he said he wouldn't, and that he worked for the CIA, and that he wouldn't get the death penalty. And years later, turns out, so it was. So,
Yep.
I mean, it is, you just never know.
How do you join a death cult, kill dozens of people, and then get pardoned? What the fuck?
Well, he didn't get necessarily, it wasn't that he was pardoned per se, because I mean, he was never going to get out, but he didn't get the death penalty in Texas.
Oh, I see.
And he was like one of the only ones, I think he was the only one that George Bush Jr. pardoned from the death sentence that year, because he only picks like the president there or the governor or whatever will only pick so many to pardon. I think Trump pardoned like a few as well, or like several, if I remember right. But no, just it was weird about Henry Lee Lucas. But he claimed too that the Hand of Death cult, was thousands and thousands of around the United States at that point in time, which was like in the 80s. That they were all over the United States, and he didn't say this, but I think it was what was that guy's name? Max Call, who wrote the Hand of Death cult book about Henry Lee Lucas. He said that it's the other way around, that the satanic cults aren't infiltrating the government. The government, possibly the CIA, it's a project, it's a secret project of theirs, and they own these satanic cults that are going around doing all this strange, crazy stuff. Because, I mean, the drug thing, too, all the big stuff about the drug trafficking. And, I mean, it goes on and on with, with all of it. So, there's no doubt that Hollywood's tainted with it.
It's deep and terrible, and I think that's the problem, right? Is you can follow it down like Beechwood was saying. You could literally probably link the CIA to every show we've ever done in some way, and that's the scary part, right?
I think it's super fascinating. Not always completely dark, right? It's not the adrenochrome thing, though. Oh my God, yeah, you can't really touch that without just being within a couple of hours, just being like, oh my,
right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, and then you don't stop, though. You keep going and going and going because you think you're going to help these poor kids somehow if you just keep learning more about it. But all you end up doing is just like really frustrating yourself, essentially.
And possibly traumatizing yourself. Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are. Here we are.
Anyway.
Okay.
Here we are doing this.
There we are, talking about crazy shit on the internet. Well, that's what we do. So yeah, good stuff as always, Jennifer.
It has to be done.
Yeah, somebody's got to, right? Somebody's got to. Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
You gotta do it, Mike.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. I appreciate the call. Anything else? What we got, Sean?
No, that's it. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. You too. There you go. There you go. Like I say, the smartest listeners in all of the world. All you got to do is just rewind and listen to all the amazing people that call in. Like I said, I'm probably playing second fiddle to 99% of our callers, except for that one guy. You know who that one guy is. But you know what I mean? It's like that's again, like I said, we're blessed with a lot of really smart people that listen to this stuff and think about this stuff. And it's evident in when you get calls like that, calls like Axel, calls like Sam, calls like Beechwood, calls like everybody that calls into the show all the time. Night Stalker. There's too many to list, right? Robert. There's literally just too many good callers to list. And like I said, we're embarrassment of riches. All the amazing, smart, thoughtful people that join the conversation. So thank you again for the call, Jennifer, and thank you everybody else. Let's go to as we finish this up. The thing is this, though, right? So whether, again, not accusing Ashton Kutcher of anything, this is an article written by this other guy. Like I said, that's why I like to source my things, because if I just come out and I do an episode and I talk about Ashton Kutcher and say, oh, by the way, this is probably true and don't really have anything to back it up with, I just look like an asshole that's making stuff up, right? I'm not making this stuff up. It's right here. It's actually put up in this article, right? Some of the stuff Axel was saying too is in this article as well. But the point is that, right? Like if somebody else asks it, well, fine. We can go down that rabbit hole and talk about it because they kind of brought it up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I see an article, we jump on it and we go and we talk about it. But that's the question, right? Don't forget that the CIA is really has their hands and their feet in everything. And part of that, like I said, are these brainwash cycles and all the rest of the stuff that we always talk about. So just don't forget, don't be so obtuse that, it's so buried in your dogma, whatever it happens to be, whether it's political or otherwise, that you don't consider you could be wrong. Okay, like I think the thing is, and I'm saying it for myself mostly, but always consider that you may have been fooled. Right, as they say, it's easier to fool somebody than it is to convince them that they've been fooled. Right, so don't be that person. And again, I'm saying it to remind myself. And that's why, like I said, we've always done this show on the premise that this is not the truth show. We don't have answers here. There are answers are more and more difficult to come by. So just be wary of people bearing easy answers. Okay. So just there you go. Public service announcement from Michael Strange. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Exactly. Sam knows. Not that guy. I hate that guy. You guys know who he is. Anyway, here we go. Let's go to Jay. We got an outro with Jay. Jay, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend? Welcome to the CIA show, which was a long time coming, I guess. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great. Always awesome. That's just, let your mind wander about these things. Those guys have been dabbling in everything forever. Since they started hiding secrets. What a better way? Get it out into the movies. Give you a hint. That's weird.
It's weird.
It's
it's weird.
If it's Ashton Kutcher, how many other guys is in there? Is
wait.
Tom Cruise in there?
We're not saying it's him. All right, just.
Well, I'm not. Oh yeah, I'm not saying him. I'm saying it was in an article.
Right.
It was in an article, and we were just talking about the article.
We're asking the question, but how deep does it go? I guess that's a good question. So you throw some names out, like you said, but also consider what Night Stalker was saying too. That is it possible that some of these new, let's say for instance, you could say something about Billie Eilish, right? You could say what if she's actually like a digital construct of sorts, right? Or like whatever these new entities are, these new celebrities, these young celebrities. What if they're?
Do you remember the Gorillas?
Yeah. Do
you know the Gorillas? When the Gorillas came out, everybody was like, you never saw them. You saw your little videos and things like that. Are they even real? Are they digitized? Right. That was one of the big things with them.
Yeah, and that was like.
And then they started getting Mos Def and everybody playing with them.
Yeah, as the guy from Blur and a bunch of other dudes. Yeah, I remember like the super band. I like the Gorillas; they're pretty good.
I like the Gorillas too. They're on my iPod.
Yeah, good shit. Actually, I ran into a deer. The only car accident I've ever been in is I hit a deer, and it was because there were two of them, and I could dodge one but not dodge the other. But I was listening to Clint Eastwood from Gorillaz on my CD.
Oh, what a great song for that to happen!
Yeah, right. Like the time it happened, it's like oh, but it's like that song brings up the memory of hitting that deer that one night. It sucked. But anyway,
I'm sorry.
Nah, well, yeah, I'm just saying, we all have our things that happen. But like I literally was like run off the road or like hit one of the two deer, and well, that's what happened. So. Anyway, so what do you think about all the CIA stuff? How deep does this go? That's the question here.
We need a backhoe to do this show, buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to start digging down a rabbit hole that size start talking about the CIA, you're going to need some excavating equipment to do it properly. I mean, how many lines does that run in? The joke that we were making the other day about someone calling in and being a ghost. The joke is 1 in 4 people work for the government. You're a post office guy. They're supposed to report suspicious activity and everything. Do those guys kind of actually work for the CIA too? How far does that go? You could go on for years. Because they've been going on for decades with the stuff that they do. Who knows? How far? Ever and ever and ever. I mean, they probably got their hands in everything. They got the Bitcoin back from the hackers.
Right?
I mean...
You weren't supposed to be able to do that, right?
Well, that's according to the cryptocurrency people. It's why they had their whole market was that, just all kinds of stuff. I bet you the CIA was pretty late giving their report for the disclosure of 6 pages, being generous. They probably left out a lot or their pages came that were magic markered completely over except for name, date, rig, and serial number, and the person who filed it. Just,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, backhoe. Everybody's whole thoughts on it are. The thing that scares me when we start talking and going down deep in some of these rabbit holes is like, at what point do you even really want to know? It's like almost might be better not knowing what people are doing behind the scenes and everything else like that, because the kid with kids, this, I don't want to put anything out there that's going to get you in trouble or anything else like that, but they say they got their hands in everything, demonic cults, blah 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 blah, the Masons, all of it, they're all interconnected with each other. Sometimes I don't know, it's almost scary. Very curious, but still, leniently cautious, I suppose, maybe.
Exactly. Like, it's interesting. Like, just I encourage you guys to spend just a little bit of time. Don't go too deep down the rabbit holes and get to like the child sex trafficking stuff, because it'll scar you. There's some sick stuff out there. But just do like I just Googled CIA Reddit, right? Just CIA Reddit. And just do that, like CIA and like a social media, CIA, Facebook, CIA, and watch. Like there's stuff out there, right? It exists, right? Like I was actually looking for a particular article where they've traced back like a huge percentage of Reddit posts coming from a particular Air Force base, right? So it's like, oh, I see what's going on. We have like an entire group of actual government, what are known as, right, on Reddit, they're known as shills. Everybody accuses everybody of being a shill, but it's literally government disinfo agents that are, have these teams of people trying to, again, sway conversations particular ways. I don't know, man. It's a scary world when simple things just can't even be simple anymore. It's like that's part of the conversation tonight. Part of why I think it's important to kind of come back to this once in a while and just point out that just be careful, guys. Just, like, again, call this the longest public service announcement ever, but it's just be wary, be humble in that it's possible we could be fooled by propaganda too. So just throwing that out there. Don't be so sure of yourself that you're ready to go to war over some other BS propaganda that the CIA has concocted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So, absolutely. And then it always comes back to, why are they putting forth that much effort to tell you a lie?
Yeah.
What's the big thing? The asteroid's coming in directly behind the moon, and we're never going to see it.
Yeah.
It's going to smash through the moon and get us.
They never tell us. It would leak out to all the billionaires. They'd all go to all their bunkers underground in New Zealand and shit. Cheyenne Mountain, whatever. They'd all be gone. They'd all be underground, and we'd just be here dying in the fire and the brimstone. Yeah.
The 3%, I think it's called the 3%. It's like a Brazilian film or something like that on Netflix. It's something that happened. I don't know the story that well because it's in a foreign language, and trying to watch a film in foreign language and stuff like that's a hard thing to do and pick up all of it. But basically something really bad happened, and everyone on the earth is in a really bad way, but all the rich people went and built an island where they knew it was. So they go throughout the world and they pick the people they want, the top 3% of the people living in poverty and all that, to come live to the island, to the utopia kind of show.
All right.
And it's like, it's a pretty good show, but it's in Portuguese or something like that. So it's kind of...
Why is it always got to be in Portuguese? What the fuck? I'm just kidding.
Maybe that's a hint.
Maybe it's a hint.
Maybe that's a hint. Maybe we should all be headed to Portugal because that's where, it's going to fare the best. The island's going to be off the coast of Portugal.
Or Brazil, because they speak Portuguese as well. Yeah. I mean, weirdness. This is all weirdness. A couple of really great comments I want to add into this before we finish up tonight. Robert says Harry Truman's biggest regret was creating the CIA. Let's see. Good stuff. Tam Bam, what's up? Says, Mike, if you talked about the Queen and the kids from the orphanages that disappeared supposedly was for a hunting party that the elite have. I have heard that. Maybe we're thinking about two different things, but I have heard there was like an elite group of people that were putting kids out for like hunting. I don't know if it's the same thing at all.
That's twisted.
Yeah, that's sick. It's sick. But I mean, like, this is the type of stuff that exists out. Like, this is the world we live in. And this is sort of my point, right? I don't want to get too dark about this stuff. Like I said, the last thing I want to do, to be perfectly honest, is you guys to come listen to this show up. You're like, yeah, I'm pumped. The Troubled Minds tonight. This is going to be fucking righteous. And then I show up and you show up and I'm just dropping like just one super depressing thing after another on you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You can do that yourself. You don't need me for that, right? So that's not my goal here. That's not my job to turn you guys off and make you stare into that abyss. So that's why I don't do that. Just so you guys know, it's not like I want you to come back and I want you to feel good about being here. I don't want you to be just sickened by the things we talk about. So that's why we don't do stuff like that. Because we did, and it was a dark month. It was that one December, and when Frank left, it was just like you shake your head. You're like, God, this is too much. It's just disgusting. We were talking about the pedo island and all that stuff. We had the drone footage from Epstein's island just after they arrested him, that whole bit, remember? I mean, we did a bunch of that shit. It was sick. That's a sick rabbit hole to go down. Another good stuff here. Sherry says government paid hackers. Tam says sometimes ignorance is bliss. And I'm pinning this one because I think this is going to be, we're going to call this the comment of the night. Sherry says this: observe, don't absorb. And that's the message. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, just be very careful. Just be very careful. Be aware of what's happening around you, but don't become part of that propaganda cycle. Don't become part of what they want you to become, because it's out there. It's definitely what's going on. So there you go. Great comment, Sherry. Thanks, Tam, for chipping in and adding some stuff here at the end, you guys. I appreciate you guys showing up. What's up? Benjamin says, we live in a toxic world. And it's the truth, isn't it? It's the truth. And that's what I'm saying, right? Just don't ever forget. It's a dark place out there. It's a dark place. And so that's, like I said, we're not coming here to commiserate and, drink ourselves into a stupor and talk about, miserable things. But they exist. That's part of the world we live in. So just there you go. Matt says it right. Be sure, be strong, be true. I'm glad somebody heard me. All right, let's wrap this up, Jay. Final thoughts, Matt. We're in no hurry. Let's start winding it down though. What are your thoughts on this? We didn't get your full thoughts on the show tonight.
I don't know. I was listening to what you were just saying, and it's like, hunt down the positive things. I mean, we talk about, dark things and secrets and everything else like that, but I mean, we still also have the opportunity to hunt down the positive things that you see daily, and look at stuff like that. Chances are all of this stuff is probably not going to affect any of us, really. They censor us, throw our flags up or our shows and stuff like that, call us tinfoil hat guys. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. There really is. There's, a lot of bad stuff, but there's still a lot of good stuff. And I think it might be part of what they're doing is they want you to see it. I mean, look at the way that movies and TV has changed over the last 20 years. It's always, fight them up and that kind of thing now, where it used to be, you had Andy Griffith and Gomer Pyle, just we've changed the way that we look at things. I think if we want to change things, maybe we should start focusing on the positive things that you see day to day and making a better note of it, but still definitely keep your head on a swivel and pay attention to what's going on around you, because that's what show's awesome, because it gets an open conversation about things that we don't know. But I'm sorry, I'm rattling on and it's time to go.
It's cool, bro. It's cool. We're grown people. Nobody tells us when to stop. Angel Wings has another great comment. The harder they push something, the less true it is. And that certainly seems to be the case, doesn't it? Sam agrees. I agree. Absolutely. And that's why, like I said, from time to time, I know, right, it's a little more fun to kind of muse about universal things and, black holes and, right, Orwellian this or that, or I didn't mean Orwellian, I meant Lovecraftian old ones, right? Like that's a little more fun to speculate on cosmic things, right? But I think it's sometimes we have to put our feet back on terra firma and back to the real world, and just make sure that we don't forget, right? It is there is a war happening for our brain, and don't fall into that trap. As Sherry said, observe, don't absorb. Good shit. I appreciate it. So yeah, let's wrap it. What do you got, man?
All right, I got it. It's one day you will come to see that life had to happen the way that it did for it to become what it was meant to be. For you will become who you were supposed to be. You may never understand the whys or make sense of the reasoning, but all the struggles hold purpose. When you never give up searching for the meaning of life itself. And it's Madam K. Poetress.
I like the quote. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
It was I think it popped up in the. Let me see if I can figure out where I got it.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was on Facebook. No, I found it on Facebook. It was just one of the. They give you the good quotes every once in a while. Everything's good and happy.
Every once in a while, social media isn't trash.
I mean, but the thing is, though, is if you're out there and you're always searching, trash. That's all they're going to send to you, because that's how you put you in the algorithm to get the ads. It's just, that's all you're going to get. That's what's cool about, we have a different subject every day, and they're all over the place. Well, we call and we talk and we have this conversation about it, but intelligent people come in, we have an intelligent conversation about it, and then, you know, it's all part, I think they're all part of the same, just blah, you know, the bad, you know, everything that, why? It's just, I can't stop asking that question. That's an awful lot of effort for what's the reason? And that's what's cool about talking about all the different subjects. You know, the CIA's got a file on Bigfoot.
Hell yeah.
You know,
that means they got several files on me. Oh,
well,
shit.
Maybe you're like incognito working for them because you don't even know it. You should be getting paid, you know, because you're sitting there doing all the research.
Where's my CIA check? This is bullshit.
Exactly. Look at all this work that I did for you guys, and you guys don't do nothing. You just search everybody else's info with some stupid program that you had some guy in Israel write for you. You know, It's just, it goes forever, Mike. I mean, it really does, but, you know, I love it. You know, I love listening to it. I don't get mad about it. I just like pay attention. You know, you had the show about the 5G thing one day, and then the next day I sent you pictures of what they're putting up on the telephone poles in upstate New York.
It's happening.
You know, it's true. Happening. Here's a picture of the one a block and a half away from, you know, where I live.
This stuff is happening. You know? Observe, don't absorb.
That's great. That's perfect, actually.
That's great. Well said. Succinct, to the point. I took 3 hours to say that. It took Sherry 4 seconds to type it. Probably less than that. That's what I'm saying. I'm here playing second fiddle to all y'all, but it's cool because we get together, and that's what it's all about. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, we have extra bonus show coming this Saturday, 7 p.m. the regular time on Saturday. We'll be streaming on all the places we do. I'm not sure what we're talking about yet. Because that's what I do. I procrastinate to the last second because you never know when just before the show starts there's going to be some crazy breaking news we got to talk about. So I like to kind of go maybe an hour or two before the show and then decide. So I don't know what Saturday will bring, but come join us Saturday, 7 p.m. We'll do more of that. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna just rewind this because we're out of time. But we don't have to be out of time. We just rewind the music. But all right, so just there you go. If you guys can spare a few bucks, Joe is in a tight spot. That's the only reason he's doing it. I said it poorly earlier. I tried to sell it, and I'm literally the worst salesperson ever. If you guys can spare a few bucks, I appreciate it a lot. If you chip in to the Fringe fund to get him back to he got led astray on some bad business deal or something or other. I don't know the details. I don't want to spill his dirt, but it sucks. He's in a bad spot, and he's trying to get back home basically. So anyway, that's what it's about. I sold it poorly because I'm a lousy salesperson. But so we'll be doing the 24-hour Fringe-a-thon. I'll be in and out of that, helping him out, kind of off the cuff, call into his show and hang out. So I don't know what that'll look like, but I'll definitely be on Saturday, 7 p.m. and we'll be doing another show for at least a couple hours. So there you go. All right, Jay. See, we can rewind the music, man. Nobody tells us when to stop. Nobody tells us when to stop. We're grown-ass people. Nobody tells us when to stop.
So everybody hop into Discord so we can chat.
There you go. So
during the show.
If you guys haven't noticed, after the show, Jay and I have been hopping in the caller queue and just shooting the shit for about 20 to 30 minutes. So if you guys want to hang out and kick it with us, we'll probably be there doing our thing, drinking some beers and talking about all the weirdness. So if you prefer more of a less structured conversation, want to come hang out with us, jump in the Shoot the Breeze channel. Come say hi, and we'll be there talking and drinking, and we'll see you then. Thanks again. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please spread the word. Thank you for all the amazing chat, all the amazing calls. Thank you for being kind to each other. Thank you for that. It's important. And let's wrap this. Again, I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. We're here with Jay for the J-Tro, which is the J outro. Jay from New York, thank you. And we're done. At the end, you know how it goes? Let me find it. Let's put it on the screen. There you go. Matt said it. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, actually, as well, 3 p.m. for the Troubled Minds news show. If you haven't caught that live, come say hi. Come jump into Twitch and come say hi. We do about an hour and just kind of quick hit news stories. So we'll see you there. Thanks again. It's time to howl, Jay. Time to make some noise.
I have to think of something. I don't know what to say to you except good night, Mike. Thanks. Awesome show. You leave me flabbergasted sometimes. Or fumble over my own words.
Ow! I'll howl.
Good night.
Let's get the F out of here. We'll be kicking it in the Shoot the Breeze on Discord if you guys want to come say hi. Thanks again. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for putting up with my shit. And let's go. We're out. Have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Or see you in like 10 seconds in chat. See you there.
Do I have to do it?
Not yet. Hold on. We're still streaming.
All right.
All right. Now we go. 3, 2, 1. Stream ends.